Morning, everyone. At least if you're in Europe, good morning. If you are in Australia, good evening. And if you're in the United States, why are you awake? You should probably be in sleep. But you know what? It's about time you finally get what the feeling that I get every time you guys set up a race at 7 p.m. EST. Because when that happens, it's midnight for where I am. So, allow me to give you the experience of what most Europeans get when you guys set your races a little too late. I am joined by no one except for us in the tech space, but he's, doing tech, so shout out to him. And the countdown for our races has just about to start, and we have a very interesting race between the three of our competitors. We have Albi running Eevee, Aspect running Pika, and Yasko also running Pika. They all are formidable runners, and I do believe, if I have actually checked the point system, which I haven't, they are most likely on a win and in. This could be an elimination round, but I do have to double check that information, which I will gladly do so at some point. As our racers set up their files, they are going into their system settings. Most of our runners, with the exception of Yasko, have set their time to 23:33. Except Yasko's actually setting his time now. And there's a reason as to why all of our runners set our time for 23:33, but we'll get to why that is important a little later. We can actually tell some information about our Pikachu and our Eevee. For both Alphabet and Aspect, I believe that Pikachu and Eevee is male. That doesn't really matter too much, but it is something to know. As we are very heading shorting to our countdown, all of our runners will be running it on the English language. That is a part of our rule set. And whenever the 60 seconds actually happens, there we go. This is, of course, Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee is a spiritual remake of the Pokémon Yellow games with a few new interesting mechanics that the game decides to throw at us, because again, this is during the time where Pokemon Go was all the craze, and we have to keep that in mind. And they decide, you know what, let's make a game that it is beginner. Now, of course, everyone is going to make a very important decision here. We have 2 boy 2s and a girl 1, so all of our runners have lost 7 frames from picking the optimal character, but decide to do it slightly differently from everyone else. We're going to name ourselves one character, and we're also going to name our rival one character. Turns out one is a very popular name in the speedrunning scene. It's just the main reason is that it's just the most convenient. If you do have a keyboard, however, you can type in whatever letter you want, and it would be just as fast, if not faster, than typing one on the Switch. But most people do not have a keyboard attached to their Switch. Only if you're a Legends Arceus runner. If you're a Legends Arceus runner, you absolutely have a keyboard attached to your Switch. So our runners going into the beginning of the game. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to be changing ourselves some menus. Specifically, we are going to set text speed to fast, because we want the text speed to go the fastest it can possibly go. We're going to set battle effects to off, which just turns off the battle animations. Battle style to set, which means the game does not ask us to switch every time a new Pokemon gets sent out. And finally, we're going to also skip movies. As much as we would like to watch movies, we are not going to be watching any movies today, unless any of our runners decide to feel spicy and say, you know what, I'm going to watch a movie. As the skip movies option doesn't actually just automatically skip the movies, unlike in future generations. It just gives you the option to press the minus or the plus button, depending on which Joy-Con you're using, to skip a movie. Heading into this route is going to be where we get our catching tutorial of catching a Pikachu or an Eevee. For Eevee's side, you can't really tell much in terms of how good or bad this Pikachu is, well, this Eevee is, but in Pikachu version, by paying attention to the CP value, you can actually tell its nature, being either neutral or not neutral. So let's see what CP values we get for both Yasko and Aspect. CP is just a combination. It's essentially called combat power, but essentially it combines all the stats into a number, and that's what it is represented. So it's how good overall a Pokemon is. So for Yasko, 26 for Yasuo, and 26 for Aspect. So we can guarantee for both of our runners, for both of our Pika runners, that their Pikachu is not going to be neutral nature. So in this game, our starters have perfect IVs on all our stats. However, the only thing that's different, the only thing that's not consistent is their nature. So they could have you know, the best nature, which is plus attack, but they could also have the worst nature, which is minus attack. So we'll have to see what kind of nature that all of our runners have. Albi does not have an indication of what nature, because EV is a bit interesting. Due to how natures work, it's like, if you're neutral on Pika, it's like, it adds up to 27 CP, but because natures decrease one stat by 2, and another stat, and increase one stat by 1, it kind of makes it more difficult to figure out what nature. It makes it so that the CP is 26 instead of 27. For EV, it's always 26. Natures will only decrease and increase a stat by 1, so the combination of the stats will always be the same number. So during this race, all of our runners are allowed to go to a neutral backup. They are allowed to check their nature here, and if so, they can go and take a neutral backup. It is a minute of time loss if they choose to go for it, and none of our runners chooses to go for it. So all of our runners are full sending their Pikachu and their Eevee, because it is a minute lost, and it also time lost to check your Eevee/Pikachu. So it does make sense for our runners not to check. For Pikachu runners, they actually have an earlier place where they can check their Pokemon without having to go through the menu, whereas Eevee has to wait one more fight, and that's purely because Eevee has to. That's because during the rival fight, Pikachu and Eevee give out different experience yield, and so Pikachu gets a level up on the youngster after the rival fight, whereas Eevee misses out just on one experience. So because this is a Kanto game, we are going to go up to Route 1 to Viridian City just to get ourselves a possible Professor Oak. And while we're doing so, we're going to be playing Go Around the Pokemon, because we do not want to encounter anything. We do see a number next to all of our runners. That is a catch count. We are required to at the very end of the game to have 50 Pokemon registered in the Pokedex. But we are not catching any Pokemon now, as we would like to catch all the Pokemon at a higher level, mainly for two reasons. One, experience yield will be higher, but also, more importantly, some Pokemon tend to evolve, and by being higher level means we do not have to wait nearly as many levels to evolve the Pokemon. All of our runners are now heading into Rival 1. For Albi, this fight is more Eevee favored, but if Pikachu tends to troll, which can with Thundershock and Growl, it can swing into the Pikachu side. Typically, Eevee takes 3 turns to deal with Rival, whereas Pikachu takes 4. However, this is a good indication that if you do have plus special attack, there is a chance that you can do this in 3 turns instead of 4. But also, by checking how much damage you have dealt, you can check whether or not you are the worst nature for Pikachu, which is plus defense. So we can kind of tell by the damage outputs. I'm not too familiar with the Eevee damage outputs, but I am familiar with the Pikachu's damage dealt outputs. So let's have a look at all of our runners. 15. So none of our Pikachu runners are plus defense. But this actually might be really good for Aspect if he gets the Thunder Shock. Not quite. I do believe the first hit for Aspect was a critical hit, not a high roll. So at least for Aspect and Yasuo, the numbers don't indicate that they are plus defense. So they don't have to worry about that. As I'm going to quickly get up the numbers, because for Pikachu, as I can definitely tell what the natures are going to be for Pikachu once we get to the fight once both of our runners get to the fight. Eevee, again, I'm not quite so sure about the numbers, not to mention we don't get the numbers until the trainer after the youngster anyway, so... For those who are more familiar with Eevee, if you can tell me what the nature is, that'll be grand. As I do have actually my phone ready to take a picture of both Aspect's and Yasuo's screen, just so that I can get myself the information of what Pikachus they are running, because this will actually be a pretty good big indicator of how well or not so well the fights are going to go, both in the early game and in the late game. Oh, there. Oh, wow. Both Aspect and Yasuo getting status lagged. Let's go. Oh, okay. So from what I can tell, Yasuo is plus attack minus defense, which is a very good nature. And what I can tell from Aspect, 14, 11, 14, 13, 16, plus special defense minus speed. So Aspect is going to have to worry. So these are definitely runnable Pikachus for both of our runners. Yeah, I believe Yasuo has the advantage of having a much better Pikachu, as defense is not really needed too much, but having plus attack is really good. Whereas Aspect, minus speed is definitely not a problem, with the exception of one fight later on. So he does have to keep in mind that there's a Golbat that will outspeed the Pikachu, but aside from that, overall the Pikachus aren't that bad. As for Eevee, again, I am not too familiar with Eevee. We do have confirmation that it is minus speed, which will have consequences for Eevee later. But again, I am not quite sure what the actual nature of this Eevee is. Apparently, from what I've heard, it is probably relaxed nature. So yeah, so for Albi, we have plus defense minus speed, which is a bit of an issue. For Aspect, we have plus special defense minus speed, which is not an issue for Pikachu, with the exception of one fight. And Yasuo, I believe, having the better of the Pikachus, which is plus attack minus defense. So I am going to write that down as all of our runners go into Viridian Forest and start getting their early Cowshears. So E plus F minus mean. Here we have go plus minus defense. Hold on, and then we have Aspect plus special defense minus speed. Someone can pin that message, that would be great. As for all of our runners, assuming I actually got all the information correctly. If not, I can make a new post, that's fine. For all of our runners, we have now gotten to the point where we have ourselves Velour, where Velour is an important item, as not only does it increase all of the spawn rate of all the Pokemon, it also forces all the Pokemon that are spawned by Velour to be the maximum level +1, which in this case is going to be 7. All of our runners have, of course, specific Pokemon that they want to catch. For Albi, for both Pikachus and Eevees, they want to get themselves Pika. No, that's a lie. They want to get themselves the bugs because they evolve twice. For Pikachu, the only other Pokemon they want to get here is Oddish, as it is a requirement. For Albi, you want to get yourself Bellsprout, as that is also a requirement. But also, for Albi, there is also an extra Pikachu that you can catch, which is a great catch earlier on. So So I believe Aspect did catch a supersized something, but I'm not quite sure what it was. As level 10 Pika and level 9 Wombo Weedle, that's what it is. As getting level 9 Weedle this early of just the third catch is not normally something that you would see. But you know what? We will take those. As I should probably have the trackers up because I don't, because I'm not smart. There we go. So Albie is just looking for the last bug to catch. Aspect, I believe, according to at least the tracker, has caught both their bugs, so is going to be doing something called Route 2 Roulette. Ooh, I'm about to sneeze. We're fine. Is about to do something called Route 2 Roulette, which is a bit risky. As Route 2 Roulette, there can only be 4 spawns in Route 2, and if you don't get the oddish, you have to reset and try again until the game gives you the oddish. But the advantage of doing this is the oddish is level 9, not level 7. Meaning its likelihood to take the knockout. Actually does choose to go for the oddish in here. It is definitely risk. It does mean that you are somewhat reliant of either a rat or a bird to spawn outside just to make sure that the oddish does get enough experience. However, the nice backup of if you don't get that is simply put is simply put just growth. You are wasting a few turns on Brock, but at the very least you're not having to waste time finding the oddish. As I do believe Yasuo does already have the oddish, so it doesn't need to catch anything else. But it is a level 8 oddish, which does mean that it does have to spend 1 turn using growth. But you know what? That is completely fine. It's better to have the oddish than not to have the oddish. So Yasuo will be the first person to enter into the Brock's gym with 5 catches, specifically having the Caterpie, the Weedle, Kakuna, Oddish, and the Pikachu. So having one of the bugs evolved. Aspect also going to be, I believe, heading into Brock's gym, hoping to see a glowing rat or bird. Does find a bird. Getting a bird here is completely fine, as while it does mean that you can get Pidgeotto later and evolve it into Pidgeot, but it'll be interesting to see if he chooses to go for that line, as he has told me before the race starts that it hasn't been great for him. As Aspect actually gets early Butterfree, which is kind of funny. But Oddish is now level 8. Ideally, you would want it to be level 9, because at least it has a chance for a 1-hit KO. But again, you can just go for growth if turn 1 if you want to guarantee it, or you can just absorb twice the Onyx. It's not the end of the world. Oh, I actually didn't realize Albie caught a Kakuna earlier and didn't have a Weedle, and now has a Weedle in her party, which is kind of interesting. Probably means that we will be seeing Albie doing a deposit. No, chooses to go a rat first and then goes for a deposit. So hopefully Weedle doesn't actually gain enough experience to evolve. That way, you don't have to see an extra evolution, an extra unnecessary evolution. So Yasuo has finished Brock. The fight for Brock is very easy for Pikachu. Just spam absorb and you're fine. And both Albie and Aspect heading into Brock's gym with 8 catches respectively. Eevee has a slightly different fight from Pikachu. Unfortunately, Bellsprout does not learn a special grass type move, only a physical one, which actually kind of makes it so that it's actually a lot better for Eevee to deal with the Brock's gym rather than Pikachu. So Eevee has a soft requirement of making sure that you are level 10 here, If you are not level 10, you do not get access to Double Kick, which is a very important move for Eevee to deal with Brock's gym earlier on. Double Kick is actually going to be more important for Pikachu than it is going to be for Eevee, as Double Kick is our best way to deal with pesky ground types that are also rock types. So Yasuo, talking to Blue, does give us a few Great Balls, which is really nice. But we are about to do our first shopping. And I think we're going to be seeing different shops from both Yasuo and Aspect. Because Yasuo is plus attack, there is a chance that we are going to be seeing him do the plus attack shop for Pikachu. Which is, instead of, so you buy 17 Great Balls. Yasuo, we do need X items. So we're going to buy 6 Great Balls, which is 2 less than what Pikachu buys. And instead we're going to be buying 2 additional X attacks, skipping the X special. The reason why we do this is so that by using our higher attack set, there's a good chance that the Ekings and the Coughing will die from a headbutt. But we'll get to that when we get to the first Jesse and James fight. We're now heading into Route 3 for Yasuo. Albi and Aspect will shortly be joining Yasuo into Route 3. Even though that Yasuo does look like he is ahead, do note that the catch count is... Yasuo has 3 less catch Pokemon than everyone else, but does get one of the lucky spawns. So in this route, there are version exclusive spawns. They are called bonus catches. For Pikachu, we have Sandshrew and Mankey, and for Eevee, we have just Sneck. As Yasuo decides to wait for Sandshrew to attack, but decides not to attack. So Aspect is doing the slightly different Pikachu shop, which is the more traditional, just buy 1x attack and 1x special defense. Does give you 2 extra Great Balls and 1 extra Awakening to deal with, which is really nice. But now, and Route 3 is also trying to see if we can get any of the bonus spawns to happen. There is, of course, the route after Mount Moon to see if he gets any of the spawns, and does get the other spawn, which is Mankey. Very awkward spot that both the Spearow and the Mankey are in the same place, but thankfully can get him. Can easily get the Mankey to get in. I'll be about to do her shop, and then going into her route to see hopefully she finds an Ekans. And Yasuo gonna get effectively the fastest catch in the entire game, which is the Magikarp. It is 500 for the best investment in our entire life, and it is one of our 50 required catches that does not require us to actually use motion controls. All of our runners heading into Mount Moon. Well, one of our runners heading to Mount Moon with 8 catches. Aspect is going to head in with 10, and I'll be assuming that she doesn't find any Sneck, will also be heading into Mount Moon with 10 catches as well. So in Mount Moon, we have effectively 3 requirement catches that we would like to see. They're not technically required, but not having them spawn is going to be a bit iffy, and that is, of course, we need to find Angry Rock with Arms, Small Pink Thing, and Mushrooms. Those are going to be very important to find, as not only do they give us experience, but they also give us catches, as one of the requirements before heading into Misty's gym is the fact that we do need to be level 15, and Specifically, Clefairy does give us the best experience. There are four other things that can spawn here, but you can get. Zubat is a Pokemon that you can catch, but it's not recommended, as Zubat can evolve later on by one level up. Whereas here you will be missing out on Golbat later. There's also Onix, which is many people's least favorite catch to go for, but again, if you need that experience and Onix shows up, you might have to go get it. And finally, there's the holy grail of experience, being Clefairy and Chansey. If those spawn, it's most likely that our runners will be going for it. They do have not the greatest catch rates, but the experience gained from those Pokemon would absolutely be worth it. Before we get to that moment, though, we are going to have a little bit of a different menuing for both of our Eevee and Pikachu runners. Pikachu will deal with these fights first with Oddish, and then menu for Velour and Headbutt. Whereas Eevee will actually do the menu a bit earlier, so that it can learn Headbutt now and use Velour now. So all the Pokemon that spawn here for both Aspect and Yasuo aren't going to be the ones caught. But when we go into this room, we're going to then catch all those Pokemon. Whereas Albie, she can actually start to catch any of the Pokemon in this room. So the main reason why we are going into this room is because, one, there's a nugget down there. And two, there is a Moonstone. Moonstone is not important for Eevee, but it is extremely important for Pikachu to obtain. So Pikachu cannot skip that room, whereas Eevee, if you get lucky enough, can actually skip that room. But it's not very likely. So Yasuo getting very good spawns to start off with, getting Geodude as well as glowing Clefairy. Actually has two Clefairies in the room, so probably going to go for the glowing one if I have to be honest, as well as a glowing Geodude. This is a really good room for Yasuo. So this should solve the experience problem, assuming Yasuo does get the catches. Only getting a great for Yasuo is not ideal, but you know what? Getting a great is better than not getting it not getting it in the circle at all. So far, really so good for Yasuo. Probably going to be completely fine experience-wise, and actually, even if the Kakuna Metapod levels up too much, it's actually going to be really good. Aspect also not getting too bad spawns as well, getting both a Clefairy and a Paras, which is really nice to see. So overall, not too bad when it comes to spawns. As I do see that all of our runners are a little early, at least Yasuo's a little early for the double Moonstone, as well as Aspect. So we are waiting a little bit, before the double Moonstone actually happens. Normally that typically tends to happen at the 26-minute mark. And the reason why the double Moonstone works by essentially trying to reload the game. Well, not reload the game, but essentially when we pick up an item, every item has a 50% chance of respawning. So there's a 50% chance that we get the double Moonstone. As we can see, Yasuo did get himself, I believe, a supersized supersized Clefairy, or like a bunch of experience on Clefairy. This is actually a good thing, because now that Kakuna and Metapod are level 13, they cannot learn their level 13 moves. So you're actually safe from Metapod, from Butterfree trying to learn 3 moves, which is actually really nice. So Aspect running into a Geodude that just spawned. Does need to catch the Geodude, so it's actually not that bad. It is a bit of time loss, but having Pikachu at level 16, as well as being plus attack Pikachu, pretty much means that I think that Misty's Starmie is absolutely dead. Like, I don't think they're gonna survive that. Zalby is getting trolled a little bit by this Clefairy, but thankfully it did attack. So just waiting on the cycle, as experience is very important. I would say the experience is more important for Eevee than it is for Pikachu, as the faster Pikachu gets the double ledge, the better. Aspect getting himself a double Moonstone and a glowing Clefable afterwards. So after catching this Paras, he can make the choice of depositing his entire party to get that experience. So it's not quite a Bonjour, but it is Bonjour light. So it'll be interesting to see if Aspect does choose to go for it. My guess is that he will. And he's going to deposit his entire party to do so. Yasuko does not get the double Moonstone, but I believe Albi does. So 2 of our runners having double... There's a bonjour, everybody! There is a Chansey. It is not a glowing Chansey, but it is still a Chansey. And if so, if Eevee can get themselves a nice big chunk of experience for it. So let's see if it actually gets it. It is a Lord Chansey, so it is less likely to get caught in, but the amount of experience that you can get is going to be pretty nice. So we're going to wait for this Chansey to stop jumping around and attack. And hopefully... Ooh, just misses the circle! Let's see if this gets in. As for Aspect, does get the thing. Yeah, it does break out for Albi. She can try again, but I am a bit concerned about the Great Ball Cow. Thankfully, the Chansey did just attack, so it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be in the middle. That is Trollleaf Chansey. That's not, I want a refund on that one. Aspect does get his of course Chansey, not Chansey, a Clefable, and does get to level 18, which is really nice. I think both our and also now that Albi also caught the thing, I don't think any of our runners are too much concerned about experience. Yasuko's at 16, Aspect's at 18, Albi's at 17. This is very much a high experience run for all of our runners. And remember, Yasuko still has a chance of finding Clefable or Chansey still, so it's not quite over. Aspect can still find himself a Chansey. That's a second Chansey for Alba. That's funny. I don't think Chansey can do a catch chain, so that's just a second special spawn for it. So yeah, Albi got herself 2 Chanseys, which is really funny. But is struggling with like the horde of Zubats trying to block her path. I guess Yasuko did forget to accidentally... I guess this Joy-Con decided to summon itself, which is, you know, something fun that it can sometimes do. Remember to unsummon it if you don't want to see... There we go. So all of our runners are very much in the clear when it comes to experience. Like, yeah, even without Chansey or Clefable, Yasuko's at level 16, which is really nice, especially the fact that he has plus attack. Albi is level 17, Aspect's level 18. I think for all our runners, this is like very good experience for all of them. Yasuko is technically ahead plot progression, but does have less 2 counts. Aspect is slightly behind Yasuko with 2 extra Pokemon. I'll be a bit behind the rest of our runners, but with the same catch count as Aspect, so not too far behind. About 1 fight and a cutscene behind, so not too bad. Yasuko does run into a rock, which, you know, wastes time. We already caught the rock. So yeah, I say overall, for all of our runners, pretty good Mount Moon. Like, the only thing I'd say that's not that good about Mount Moon for at least Albi is that the Chansey did take a little bit of time to get in. But aside from that, I'd say pretty good for all of our runners. And now that we are also at these high levels, we can actually like see just like absurd things like this Headbutt probably getting a 1-hit knockout. Not quite for Aspect, but I'm pretty sure it did happen for Yasuko, as Yasuko does have a plus attack nature. And none of our runners have to worry about ranges, as they have reached their pretty high levels. So Yasuko's about to go into the first Jesse and James fight. Because Yasuko is plus attack, he does have the plus attack strat that he is going for, which you use 1 X attack and knock out the Ekans, use the 2nd X attack, knock out the Coughing, and the fight's done. Although with plus attack, you could make the argument that plus 2 Headbutt could potentially kill the thing, but it's better just to play it safe and just go for the strat as normal. But also you kind of want the X attacks to run out so that you can set up God menu. So you definitely want the X attacks to run out. Aspect is doing a slightly different version because he doesn't have plus attack. He went for the normal shop, which means you're using a plus special attack instead of plus attack, but that's completely fine. Does unfortunately get poisoned, which is really annoying. You do have to make a menu to heal. However, if you do, Yasuo does, I believe, would like to see, I believe, Monkey. So it will probably be a recommendation for him to wait until he gets to the Pokemon Center to then heal off the poison. That way, if he does get Monkey, he can then deposit Monkey as well as heal the poison. So both our Pikachu runners leaving Mount Moon. Yasuo have ooh! Really? Okay, Yasuo finds a rare char and chooses not to go for it. Interesting choice. It is only one Pokemon here compared to 2 Pokemon later, but rare char, as the name suggests, is rare, so I would have not gone for it, but again, I'm not the one making the call here. So Yasuo and Aspect both going into the Pokemon Center to teach a very important move, which is of course Zippy Zap. Zippy Zap is Pikachu's main stab attack for pretty much the rest of the game. It is a 50 base power move with priority, with +2 priority, and it always does critical hit damage, which is really nice. And I believe that for both of our runners, this is going to be pretty much a free Misty fight. Do note that Aspect still does have Clefable in his party, so we'll need to deposit it at some point. I will be interested to see when he chooses to deposit Clefable, as I'll be shortly behind all of our other runners and getting herself some extra Great Balls just for extra safety. Eevee does actually have 3 moves that it learns here instead of just 1, making it a pretty fantastic type coverage machine. Eevee gets Buzzy Buzz, 90 base power special type move, electric type move that always paralyzes. We also have Sizzly Slide, which is a 90 base power physical move that always burns, which is also fire type, as well as Bouncy Bubble, a 90 base power water type move that heals 50% of the damage taken. So Eevee is going to be an absolute type coverage machine. As we do see a fantastic, almost frame by frame for both of our runners for the Pikachu side. They are in the exact same fight. This fight is very easy for both of our runners. It is X attack, Zippy Zap, and both Psyduck and Starmie are going to go down. It would not be surprising if Starmie just goes down in 1 hit. It's normally a range if you're at 15, but both Yasuo's at 17 plus attack, Aspect's at 18. I don't think this is going to be a problem for either of our runners. The fight for Eevee is a little bit more interesting. Because Eevee does not get stabbed on its electric type moves, it will have to take 2 turns on the Starmie, but thankfully we could use a bit of an interesting maneuver for Eevee, where turn 1 we use Buzzy Buzz, the Starmie outspeeds us, and then turn 2, thanks to paralysis, we outspeed the Starmie, which is going to be really cool. Although that being said, this Eevee is slow, so we do have to keep that in mind, which will be a problem, especially for some of the later rival fights, as a slow Eevee means that there's a good chance that it could get sand attacked. Aspect and Yasuo heading into Rival 2. This fight should be pretty simple for both of our runners. In fact, it might be a funny thing where Headbutt might actually do a little bit more damage, a little bit too much damage for what it's supposed to be. Also, from what I've told, Eevee is actually having a 10 and 16 range to actually knock out the Starmie in 1 hit, So let's see if that actually does happen. Does get a crit, so it does make me a bit concerned. But Eevee probably should have enough special defense to survive a Scald. Yeah. Does not quite get the knockout, sadly. But that's fine. Just get another Buzzy Buzz in and you're fine. And now we head into what everyone's favorite section of the game, called Nugget Bridge, where effectively you just spam the A button and win games. There's only one somewhat complicated fight for Pikachu version, and that is a Sandshrew. The Sandshrew is a bit difficult for Pikachu to deal with, as it is a pure ground type. There are two ways to deal with it. One way is to just use Headbutt. The other way, and hope that you get a flinch or you don't get a bad move. Or the other option is to summon the second controller and use a potion on Pikachu to heal it up. Typically that's only the option used for runners if Pikachu needs some healing, which I don't think for either Yasuo or Aspect that is the case. Ooh, that's a lot of damage on that Pidgey. I think Albie might have to take a heal here, because at least I'm not too familiar, but I think we'll probably Sizzly Slide first and then heal, as dealing with Pikachu you might have to heal because you might die to Pikachu. Our runners, but aside from that, that is pretty much fine for all of our runners. No problem for any one of our runners, as they continue to go down through boring Nugget Bridge. Nugget Bridge is kind of like the thing that it's just like the turn brain off and just play the game. So, as we are in Nugget Bridge, this is now the course of time. If you want to go ahead, there's a Hangman game happening right now, so if you want to go ahead and play yourself some Hangman, that's fine by everyone. Runners, I would probably recommend not to play Hangman during this time, despite the fact that it is, Nugget Bridge. There's nothing really that happens here. There's also, of course, the time that if you want, send in your best copy pastas, or if not, you know what? Let's have some more interesting. Chat, what is your best speedrun accomplishment that you've ever done? Let's get some more interesting things going on. First has a Mint Evo's AOP world record holder. Nice. That is what we like to see. Egote with a Ditch Bill world record. Speaking of Ditch Bill, all of our runners have the chance to, if they want to, Ditch Bill. I don't think any of our runs are going to get, but you know what? Let's do it. Routing and completing hat or collectibles. Nice, LB. In the meantime, all of our runners are going to go for it. Yasuo's actually going to choose to catch this Venonat, which is not necessarily a choice that many runners will go for, but it is definitely an interesting choice. Aspect, I don't think we'll go for the Venonat catch. Nope. And we'll also not be doing the skip that you can do in this route, so definitely taking it safer. Pikachu version will pick up this ether here. It will be very important for not only later on in the game, but also for guard menuing purposes. And yeah, that's about it for that. Well, in the meantime, while these runners are going through the more boring sections of the game and also going to head into build to hawk into the cutscene, I thought it might be a bit of an interesting time to actually know a little bit more about, our runners and their accomplishments in their other games. So, Albie actually has a lot more accomplishments outside of Pokemon than you might think, including a lot of time set in a hat in time. Like, that's a lot of time. But also has a lot of other speedrun placements in plenty of Jack games, as well as, of course, Daxter as well. So many of the other speedrunners here are actually accomplished speedrunners in other games, as well as this one. Aspect much better known for their Pokemon achievements, as they do have a lot of achievements, not just in Let's Go Pikachu, but also in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, Sword and Shield, and also a run in Octopath Traveler, as I have seen in their speedrun.com profile, as well as a run in Cassette Beast as well. Which is really nice to see all of our runners doing a little bit more not in speedrunning, not just in Pokemon, but also outside of Pokemon as well. Really nice to see all of our runners. Quickly just check one thing before, as our runners head back down to Cerulean Cave. No, not Cerulean, not Cerulean Cave, just the city. As Yasuko, while may not have done a lot more in terms of diversity, in terms of their speedrunning, they are a phenomenal DS Pokemon speedrunner, having many top times in many of the games of Pokemon Black and White 2s, as well as Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Diamond and Pearl speedrunning. It is actually inbred. So definitely more familiar with the Pokemon franchise, but again, the DS games and the Switch games are definitely different in how they play. So very much accomplished runners from all three. Aspect and Yasuko definitely being more Pokemon centric, Aspect being more modern, Yasuko being more DS, and Albie definitely being more of a jack of all trades, not necessarily mastering in one game, but having a lot of different accomplishments in many different games, from a Hat in Time to Sly Cooper to Jack and Daxter. So definitely accomplished speedrunners. We are now, for all of our runners, heading into Route 6. For Eevee, your main requirement is to get to level 18. Ideally, you want to outspeed the Pidgeotto, but I don't think this minus speed Eevee is going to do so, so that might be a bit awkward for the Eevee, so we're just going to have to see how Albie decides to deal with this. But for Aspect and Yasuko, there is a very important cache that needs to be caught here, and that is a Growlithe. Now, for both of our runners, you don't really need the Growlithe. Now, and actually, I would say that Aspect can actually, I wouldn't say recommend skipping the Growlithe, but as long as Pikachu gets to level 21, you could actually do a very interesting one-piece strat. But if you don't, but the reason why Growlithe is important is actually for the trainers afterwards, as Pikachu does not have a great time against those trainers. So we'll see both Aspect and Yasuko. don't remember seeing Aspect luring? I might be mistaken. I might be mistaken and just wasn't paying attention. Yeah, that is not a Lord Growlithe. So it does get early Growlithe, but that is not Lord. So it does realize that you do actually need the lore. So thankfully has realized it's a small minor mistake that people can make. It's not the end of the world. But ooh! Nice Abra spawn for Yasuo and conveniently looking behind. So hopefully for Aspect it does not take too long to find a Growlithe. But yeah, Asko getting an Abra does mean they can skip Growlithe if it doesn't spawn, but for Aspect, does finally see a Growlithe. And this time it is level 17, so it is the correct level. But for Yasuo, getting an Abra can replace the Growlithe for the fights coming up, but does need to get one extra level, does need to level it up before the rival fight, if he wants to use it for the fights. So we might see Yasuo start to catch stuff. There is conveniently a Jigglypuff afterwards, so hopefully Yasuo can get one level up on the Abra into a Kadabra before getting... Jigglypuff is a bit of a troll Pokemon as it does fly, but thankfully it's not bad. But Aspect choosing to catch Pidgeot here. Sorry, Pidgeotto. Not a choice that I would have gone for, but you know what? It is a choice. Ooh, I'll be getting Joy-Con moment there, so love to see when only one ball comes out, but... And sadly does get punished, but thankfully that Jigglypuff is not jumping yet. So, does get a second try on that, which is really nice. But Aspect does get Thunderbolt, which does mean that Aspect, if he chooses to, can do the 1P Rival 3 strat, which is really nice to see. Yasuo does get a Growlithe, does have to be careful about the Sailor, but thankfully the Growlithe, while it is running away, is actually running the correct direction that you want to go anyway, so it's not the end of the world. Yasuo did run into the Psyduck, so is choosing to catch it. It is also EXP, which is a nice thing to have. Ooh, no! Albie does hit the... does hit one of the Vermilion trainers. If you saw Aspect screen, you can skip both of those trainers, but it is very difficult. Thankfully for Albie, you can just go to the right trainer and not have to worry about the skip. But it's not the end of the world. But it's not too much the end of the world. Thankfully it's just the Bellsprout. All you have to do is just Sizzly Slide and it's gone. Yasuo does evolve his Abra into a Kadabra, and so it can use it in the fights as he needs to. Aspect doing the shop that's going to be pretty much the main shop for the entirety of the mid-game. We will only be shopping one more time, but that is only after Silphco. So it's going to be a while until we actually do shopping. Accidentally going into settings. Does choose to deposit his entire party right now, which makes sense. She made the argument to wait to catch Growlithe afterwards and not put it in the party, as you don't actually want it to give it experience, but that's just my opinion. Aspect still having the second controller for... Oh, I guess the second controller just summoned for. No reason. Joy-Con moment. Yasuo also hitting level 21, so if he knows about the 21 strat, he can go for also 1P Rival 3. So we'll see if our runners choose to go. Yasuo also chooses to catch a Pidgey. Do note that this Pidgey will not evolve in time. because this is the first thing that is caught, this Pidgey will not evolve until after the 3 fights, so I do know that from heart, so that is something to keep in mind about this Pidgey. So we are seeing the 1P adaptation of the Rival 2 fight. Normally this is not something that you see, but because Aspect Pikachu is level 21, you can Thunderbolt the Pidgeot, and then by using 2 X attacks, you can effectively one-hit KO the entirety of Trace's party. So it's a really nice time save to have. So there's X attack 1. You do have to be careful as the Eevee is effectively given 2, potentially 3 turns if it uses Quick Attack, but this is not a bad fight. Actually, well, only 2 turns because Zippy's just out-prioritizes Quick Attack, so never mind about that. And then the +4 Headbutt should be a knockout, we'll see. If not, there's a chance that it flinches. And it's a knockout, nice. As for Albi, this can be a bit dangerous, but because the Pidgeotto can go for Sand Attack, it went for Wing Attack instead on the Bellsprout, which can be a bit annoying, but thankfully Albi does have another Pokemon, so can just continue the setup like normal. It's not ideal, but the main thing is that you could just use a Revive and just revive the Bellsprout afterwards and be completely fine. So it's not the end of the world for Eevee, but you know what? It's not the end of the world for this fight, but it's just something you have to waste now. Revives is effectively a precious resource, as you're only given 3. There is a max revive that you can pick up in Rocket Hideout if you so wish. Typically, I would only pick that up if I have run out of revives entirely. But it is a bit annoying. So Aspect, now having caught pretty much everything that they need, can pretty much just, yeah, it doesn't have to lure, doesn't have to need anything. I believe Aspect's only missing thing is Jigglypuff, so he would like to see a Jigglypuff on the way up, as he does have double Moonstone. So, if not, he does have a second Moonstone target in the Nidoqueens later, so we'll see if he gets it. That's the only thing he would like to see now, as it will be most optimal to do that menu. But does not get any Jigglypuff. That's completely fine. He'll probably unmark Wigglytuff from his tracker. And instead go for probably go for both Nidoking and Nidoqueen. Assuming both Nidos do spawn. There are other opportunities for Jigglypuff, so it's not quite the end of the world for Jigglypuff. I think this might be the first time we've ever seen 2 Pika runners go for 1P Rival 3 at the same time. Which is really cool to see. It can only be done if Pikachu actually gets to level 21 in time. Which is not normal. Sadly, Fiasco does miss the headbutt, but thankfully it's not the end of the world. You just headbutt 2 more times and you're fine. As long as you're not dead, that's all that matters. Nice Abra spawn for Albi too. Wow, that's 2 Abras for 2 of our runners. Abra, not a very common spawn. For Eevee, you don't actually mind the Abra coming out afterwards, but also, thankfully, after this catch, you will now be on double greats, so that's going to be really nice. Dealing with the rival. For the Gloom here, you actually have 2 options if you're Pikachu version. You can either choose to Headbutt Flamethrower, or as we can see Aspect doing, X Special Attack and Flamethrower. If you are level 18, you are more likely to get this range than level 17. I like to play a little bit risky myself. I like to go for Headbutt Flamethrower. Just saves time from going into the menu. But again, that's just my choice. It is a bit riskier. But I think if you're like plus attack, I actually just think that that's just like the correct play. Does choose to heal the Pikachu. Would have also liked to see Velour, personally, be applied there. Not that it really matters too much, but so that's fine. Aspect now have Aspect. Yasuko now having to hit the Vermilion trainer skip from going upwards, and hits it beautifully. I don't think Yasuko has anything that he wants to catch here, so he can just dip. And now we're heading into Route 10, one of the most important routes for all of our runners, as this is where we start to buff up our catch counter. Route 10 and Rock Tunnel are effectively the biggest catching section, is essentially the biggest catching section in the entire game. All of our runners having 20, 18, and 17 Pokemon respectively, they would like to, by the time they leave Rock Tunnel, to be around the 30 mark. Anything higher than 30 is nice, anything below 30 is a bit sketch. So we'll see what happens there. The Aspect will be the first person to reach Route 10. Let's see what kind of spawns does he get. There's 4 things that we would like to see. Nido male, Nido female, Spearow, and Rat. Depending on who you are, you even want to see small rat or big rat. And this is currently not necessary. Yeah, this is not great spawns for Aspect so far. Does find himself a small rat. He has not caught a small rat, so this will level up in 1 level. But if he wants extra experience, he can choose to deposit the rat for Eradicate. We will most likely be seeing a Repel reset from Aspect, as this is not great. Pikachu does have a requirement of a Nidoking or a Nidoqueen to spawn up, so it does need at least one of the Nidos to show up. Having a Nido show up is extremely important. As Pikachu is reliant on Nidoking or Nidoqueen's help, whereas Eevee does not require Nidos, but can use them if need be. There are some people who do run Nido strats. I don't think Albi is one of them. So hoping to see some better spawns from Aspect. The only issue with this place is that only 4 Pokemon can spawn at the same time. So far we have 3 rats and a big bird. And yeah, we'll be seeing the Repel trick. There is one other trick that you could do, which is respawn the area. That is Eradicate, but that is also a Nidoqueen. So he does get a Nido. Which is effectively the minimum requirement that you do need. So Aspect can leave. But if Aspect does choose to leave, it does mean that he won't be having Spearow and he won't be having Nidoking. So it will be interesting to see what decision he chooses to make. The only way to now respawn the encounters is to actually do the grunt fight behind. And oh no! Picks Nightshade! Thankfully it's not punished, but I wouldn't use Zippy Zap if I were you, but you know what, that's fine. Oh, does find Nidomail. Okay, so that's at least fine. Probably not the ideal order to find Nidomail, but you know what? We'll take what we can get. And of course, Nidomail does mean that Aspect can now do Nidoking strats instead of Nidoqueen strats, which overall is better than Nidoqueen, but there are a few cases where Nidoqueen is better than Nidoking. So Aspect does mean that he can choose to Moonstone the Nidorina into Nidoqueen instead of the Jigglypuff into Wigglytuff, if he chooses to. Oh, that's a choice. That is a Route 10 Bonjour. This is, if everything goes right, a neutral coin flip. But would be a hell of a ton of experience if he does get it. So, at best, Well, actually, it's slightly better than a coin flip. But let's see if he gets it. It's 57% chance to get in. It doesn't! But he is trying again. Chansey is wasting a fair amount of Great Balls. It will not surprise me if Aspect does choose to pick up the 3 Great Balls after this route, thanks to Chansey wasting a lot of time. Let's see. Second 57% chance. Breaks out again! And does choose to bail. That is a huge amount of time lost for Aspect. Going for that twice. Going for that effectively 3 times and just wasting time. But you do want to keep the resources. It is effectively a 57% chance to even get. And sadly, he did not get it. But that would have been an insane amount of experience for Aspect if he actually managed to get that. Albie does get one of her first Nidos. Do believe has double Moonstone, so we'll evolve this into Nidoking. Can evolve this into Nidoking if want. We'll be seeing Nidoking, but probably won't be seeing Nidoking strats. And we'll also be seeing will we be seeing the Repel trick? Probably not. Probably will just be evolve this, deposit everything, and just continue going. I don't think at this point you need that many attack AVs on Pikachu. I'm pretty sure everything is just going to be fine, but yeah. So overall, aside from the Chansey moment, getting everything but Spearow is actually not that bad. Does leave with a 52 planned and no Tentacle planned thus far. So in Mount Moon, in Rock Tunnel, we are trying to find a few Pokemon. Graveler is, of course, one of the first Pokemon that we want to see. The other Pokemon that we want to see is Rhyhorn, as that is very important for Eevee. There is a backup for Pikachu if you don't get Rhyhorn. But the other Pokemon that gives us more evolutions is, of course, we want to see Zubat, we want to see Machop, we want to, unfortunately, not see the 90-something% getting caught. And, of course, we want to see... what is it? We want to see Machop, we want to see Cubone, we want to see Zubat, and in the rare of cases, we want to see Redshaw. Aspect apparently getting scammed and wanting to get his refund back. Yasuo, if I'm not checking... Wait, Yasuo still needs a Nido. Oh no, this is not great. So, Yasuo has done the Grunt Fight, I believe done the Repel trick, and now is waiting for a Nido to spawn. There we go. He does get a Crab as well for his patience as well. So can go... Actually, already has a Crab, never mind. But finally does find a Nido. That is a throw of all time. There we go. Yeah, if there's something that I need to be highlighted and put in the we need to have that Yasuo's comment on Joy-Con. So we actually kind of see a very funny instance of the trainers. So trainers cannot move, but thanks to Kangaskhan being in the way, the trainer doesn't actually walk all the way. So that's actually kind of funny. Aspect still has his second controller out. Probably forgot to unsummon it. Not the end of the world. You just waste a turn with Eradicate, but that's okay. Will be interesting to see if Aspect does go for this Kanga. He probably won't be going for the Kangaskhan. simply because he doesn't need to. He doesn't have 52 planned. But so far, I think the only thing Aspect has caught is a Graveler. So he's trying to find other things. Does finally find a Cubone, which is nice to see. I don't think Gasco has caught anything yet in Tunnel. Let me just go ahead and double check that information. As Albie does finally get herself a Zubat. Gasco does find himself a Zubat. So we'll be catching that almost immediately. As it is a very good catch here. It is what, well, I say very good. It's a very good catch to get in the ball, but not a very good catch in general. Zubat is just annoying as hell to get. So all our runners getting themselves, you know, Pokemon that we'd like to see. The only Pokemon that we haven't seen yet from our runners, for all of our runners, is Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn is the first case of a ride Pokemon, which allows us to move faster throughout the overworld. There are other ride Pokemon, but we will not be riding Onix. I apologize for everyone who are Onix enjoyers. We will not be seeing Onix, and we will not be riding an Onix in this tournament. There's also the fact that it's not faster, so we haven't seen Rhyhorn from any of our runners yet. More important for Eevee than Pikachu, as if you don't get it in Eevee, you have to do the Walk of Shame. Aspect finding double Onix. Onix is a horrendous catch here. At best, you can get it as a coin flip. And at worst, it's not even that. So we are seeing Aspect doing both of his Moonstone evolutions, which is really nice to see. Gasco is finding everything, he's just not finding Rhyhorn. So that'll be so hopefully for none of our runners, Rhyhorn takes forever. This might also just be a run when none of our runners get Rhyhorn. That could also be just something that just happens. I hope that doesn't happen for all our runners' sake, but that is something that can happen. And it seems to be happening. But for most of our runners, with the exception of Aspect, they are in the first room. Aspect's in room 2, so there's still plenty of time for Rhyhorn to spawn. But not having Rhyhorn for any of our runners is going to be a bit iffy, at best. Aspect, do not use an escape rope. That would be really bad. So many of our runners choosing to do their menus now. I think Aspect's at a point where if he catches everything, then he doesn't really need to menu. I think that's also the case with Albie as well. As actually all the runners have caught Graveler, so any Pokemon that they now catch will be wanting to stay in the party, unless it's like Kangaskhan or Onix. Aspect now be in the Kangaskhan fight. They have slightly different strats. Pikachu has a little bit of a funky strat of X special attack into Headbutt into Thunderbolt to see if we can get the flinch on the Kangaskhan. Albie has to go for more of a Sizzly Slide Burn strat, but you know what, that's completely fine. This Kangaskhan can be a bit trolly thanks to Bite, especially if you're slow, but thankfully it's not that problem. And many of our players having spawning issues. The lore does seem to be working, but I think they got scammed on that lore. Aspect getting himself his own Zubat. Does actually hit the circle, which is more of the accomplishment. Albie now heading into the third room, not getting any really good spawns, only having 27. Well, there's a spawn, just not the thing you want. So let's see if Albie is choosing to go for the Onix. I'm going to guess no. Yeah, makes sense. You know, no Cubo, no thing, just seeing more Onixes. Aspect finally seeing his Machop. But yeah, none of our runners are getting Rhyhorn. That's really unfortunate. It's like, Rhyhorn, where are you, buddy? still have a little bit more time to see. So it's not the end of the world. But yeah, Albie is getting really bad luck when it comes to her spawn encounters. Like, for what I can tell from the catch tracker, no Machop, no Cubone yet. So, hoping to see at least one of them. Aspect has, I believe, everything caught now in the... except Rhyhorn, of course. So, all of our runners do not have Rhyhorn, and I believe Aspect's only missing Rhyhorn. So, we'll be keeping up the lore until Rhyhorn gets found. We do have a missing persons poster. Has anyone seen Rhyhorn? If so, please contact security. We do need to find our Rhyhorns. None of the runners have seemed to be finding Rhyhorns at all. They've seemed to be finding more Onyxes than Rhyhorns anytime. There we go. There it is. So Yasuko being the first person to find Rhyhorn. Very nice to see. As yet another Onyx. Albie does finally find a Cubone. One of the two things that she does need to find. Aspect still not finding their Rhyhorn. Like, Albie and Aspect trying to see if they can find a Rhyhorn for their life. For Aspect, at least it's not the end of the world. All you have to do is just get Growlithe out the party early and evolve it into Arcanine. Whereas Albie is trying hard to find spawns. Does need Machop, it does need Rhyhorn. Hopefully she can find one. And yeah, does choose to reset the room because Onyx is kind of in her way. But also gives her a chance to find more spawns. Interesting that Albie is choosing to room reset multiple times. And does not get punished. Does find her Rhyhorn. The only thing that she's missing, I believe, is Machop, and there is a Machop right there. So it does not get punished for the room reset, which is at least nice to see. As this is just an Onyx field day. Like, Onyx is just appearing everywhere for all of our runners. And a second Kangaskhan, I believe that is. So, anyone who is a Kanga fan, we have now 2 on the screen. We now had 2 this race. So, as far as I'm concerned, I think Aspect will be the only runner here that will not be leaving without a Rhyhorn, unless one does spawn at the very final moment. But very importantly, Eevee does get to level 28, which means it's Double Edge time. So Double Edge is a very powerful move at the cost of recoil, but man, it's gonna be very nice to see Double Edge this early, as we are going to be seeing a lot of instances where Double Edge is going to be fun. So, we are going to be seeing some very interesting things for both of our Pika runners today. Aspect is going to have to do the entirety of Rocket Hideout without Rhyhorn. But Yasuko will have to do Queen strats instead of King strats. So we're going to see 2 very interesting takes on the Pikachu route today, which will be very fun to see. And speaking of many differences between Nido King and Nido Queen strats for Pikachu, we first have Rival 4. So if you are King strats, you will set up on the King, whereas if you are Queen strats, you will be setting up on Pikachu. In practice, King strats is overall better than Queen strats, as it does save the most amount of turns. But Queen strats do, but there is like one fight where Queen strats is better. But overall, this fight is fine. In terms of catch count, Aspect is actually leaving Rock Tunnel with the lowest catch count with 30, which is completely fine. 30 is completely acceptable for you to leave. Albie will be soon joining Aspect and leaving with 31. And Yasuko actually having the highest catch count of all of our runners, leaving Rock Tunnel with 34. For all of our runners, Yasuko has 52 planned currently, Aspect has 51 planned, and Albie has 50 planned. So that's going to be very interesting for all of our runners to have. And also, Meowth used Feint. Feint is real, just not Hitmonlee Feint. That's not real. Although one of our runners will probably disagree on that being real. But like I said, if it doesn't happen on the race, it's not real. Feint is a moveset that it does have on Hitmonlee. Like if you go to Bulbapedia, you will see that Hitmonlee does have Feint. It's just that it doesn't use it. But we'll get to that when we get to that. So Aspect here, if I'm not mistaken, he will be putting Growlithe in the party immediately. You can still go for Arcanine stress, as this is not only a level 17 or 18 Growlithe, but also is a damaged Growlithe. So you can go for, at least for first J&J, Growlithe using Arcanine sacrifice strats. Not quite sure about the second one. I believe that it's good enough for the second one, as it is like more than 10 levels lower, so should just get knocked out by a Poison Jab anyway. Both Albie and Yasuko also doing their rival 4 fights. Yasuko is a bit different from Aspects, as because of Nidoqueen, you will be using the X-Attacks on Pikachu. Does have to struggle a little bit with the Gloom, but aside from that, is not the end of the world. And we will actually be seeing at least potentially one metronome in Yasuko's screen. So if you want to get in your metronome guesses, now is the time. We do see a Sand Attack on Albie's screen, just as interesting, but I was not paying attention on who got Sand Attacked. So if it was Eevee, we might have problems. If it's Rhyhorn, it's fine. Cope. I mean, this should be fine because Double Edge plus Drill Run should just be... like, if one of them hits, it should be fine. Yeah. The Aspect... well, actually, getting a Golbat evolution, which is kind of funny. Well, I wasn't expecting that, but is going to get himself the Firestone, and will be immediately using that Firestone to get Arcanine. And we'll be using Arcanine as the right Pokemon. Arcanine is faster than... I did not know that if you just go all the way down, you can skip that Trader's Sight. Nah, I learned that today. But yeah, you can use the Firestone, get Arcanine. Arcanine is faster than Rhyhorn in terms of a ride. So the time loss of walking to here will probably be mitigated a little bit. But aside from that, it's not ideal, as there are some fights that Rhyhorn is just better than Arcanine, as Aspect will have to go for the old Jessie and James strat. But you know what? It's completely fine. Hopefully. Hopefully it'll be fine. Talking to Arcanine, bit of time loss, but whatever. So now Halby and Yasuko are heading out of Pokemon Tower. We will be seeing a metronome from Yasuko's side. So we have seen some predictions. We've seen metronome Guillotine from Ferris, as he has seen Guillotine last time. It was a bit scary, but until you realize that Eevee was just higher level, so probably that won't happen. Yeah. Ooh! Aspect seeing both Abra and Jigglypuff, two things that he does actually need, and actually seeing the Jigglypuff, well, he is on an odd catch count, so I would actually think that actually getting the Jigglypuff might not be the correct play, but we'll see what happens. So Yasuko's screen is currently, there we go. So we are seeing, did Double Edge not get the knockout? Oh, so I'm not sure what metronome that was, and I also didn't check what metronome the other one is. So Aspect getting Abra. We'll see if Aspect chooses to get the Jigglypuff. Does choose against the Jigglypuff. Does make sense, as he was on an odd catch count, but now he's on an even planned. Does have 52 planned. So if Ghastly does, and he's not reliant on Ghastly, which is really nice to see. Yasuko's also going to pick up the Firestone. Albi, I believe, did not pick up the Firestone, from what I've not been paying attention. Eevee doesn't pick up this Firestone. If Eevee does use a Firestone, it'll pick up the Firestone Mansion instead. So Albi got Amnesia. I'm not quite sure what Yasuko got. Excuse me. So now Aspect is going to head into Rival 2. Ooh! We see 2 glowing Vulpixes for Albi, which is going to be really nice to see. I don't think Vulpix... Yeah, Vulpix is not currently planned, and catching this Vulpix does mean that you are putting yourself on an odd catch count. But that's completely fine. As Firestone does put you on. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because you only need 50, and since some Pokemon do like to evolve, they like to evolve multiple times. I guess, actually now realizing Albi's Trekker does have the entire Pidgey line as planned. So, actually, if she doesn't get the Pidgey and it goes for a Pidgeot instead, or even goes for this Pidgey, Vulpix would actually fix the going from odd to even, but does choose not to go for this Pidgey. Has also not marked Vulpix on her tracker, but she'll get. But when she gets to that, she'll get to that. She does have 32, not 31. But now, one thing to mention: we are talking to the best NPC named character in the entire game, Madame Celadon. The thing that we are doing here is we are manipulating Modest Nature for the rest of the game. Which is nice to see. Oh, it's now gone through. So Rocket Hideout is a bit of a sketch fight part for both Pikachu and Eevee. Eevee did learn one new move in Glitzy Glow. The secondary effect of setting up Light Screen is nice, but the primary effect for Glitzy Glow is the fact that it is a psychic move. So we'll be seeing that a lot. This is actually the one fight for Yasuko that actually being Nido Queen is actually better. I'm not sure if this is written in the notes. It should be, but you can just go for X Attack Crunch, and this Hypno is absolutely dead. But it's not choosing to go for that. This also works too. Zippy Zap Crunch is also something that you can go for as well. but X attack crunch is also an option. So the next fight is going to be a little bit, well, not the next fight, but aspect of the fight after that, the Jesse and James fight, which is a bit of a difficult Jesse and James fight for most of our runners. It's going to be interesting to see for Aspect, how Aspect chooses to deal with it. And so this fight, we'll also be seeing how many of our runners choose to do it. Does Aspect choose to do 1P? Does choose to do this fight 1P. The Grimer, you could either do 1P or 2P on Pikachu. 2P is obviously more consistent, but 1P is obviously a lot faster. I do believe Yasuo does have a Rhyhorn, which means he could have actually went for Rhyhorn strats instead of Pikachu strats for this fight, but does choose to go for Pikachu strats instead. Which is completely fine. Does get the cringe poison, but that is completely fine. On Aspect C. I believe that might have been a minimized, but it did get minimized, but thankfully he only lost 1 turn. Plus poison. So we'll have to heal the poison. You don't actually have to heal the poison. Actually, no, wait. This is Aspect. He doesn't have Rhyhorn. He will have to heal the poison now. And we'll have to rearrange his party to put Arcanine on slot 2. And then by putting Arcanine on slot 2, you could also put Nidoking on slot 3. Meaning you don't have to do that much party management afterwards. So Nidoking goes to slot 3. Oh, I guess that also works too. And we'll choose to both fully heal the Pikachu as well as get rid of that poison. Yasuo decides to go for a much more safer strat, which I believe he just went for Thunderbolt Helping Hand or Thunderbolt X Special. Wasn't paying too much attention. And ooh! I guess that's a trade for LB. I wasn't paying attention, but I guess Double Edge just like got a knockout, but also got herself knocked out. So we'll have to, heal the Eevee at some point. Preferably before the next fight. So the main advantage of Double Edge is the fact that you do get to knock out a lot of your opponent's Pokemon very fast. The only downside of Double Edge is you actually have to go into the menu a lot. So there is a risk, there is a trade-off for having a very powerful move, but having to always constantly heal. It is overall faster though. And I've also learned this from other top runners that Hypno is actually the last point that you should consider teaching Double Edge. If you don't get Double Edge by Hypno, the amount of time save you get from Double Edge is not worth teaching it. Meanwhile, Aspect is going to head into J&J. We will be seeing 2 different variations of J&J from both Aspect and Yasuo. Aspect will have to go from Aspect would so J&J has 2 different strats depending on if you have or don't have Rhyhorn. If we are going to be seeing from Aspect the Rhyhornless version, which is effectively just J&J 3, but you do it at 2, whereas Yasuo gets to have a little bit more of a easier time using Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn does have some funky stuff, i.e. Drill Run is a move that does exist. And Drill Run is a 95% accurate move, so take that as you will. But the strat for Aspect is very simple. You go ahead and use X Special and Thunderbolt on the Arbok. The Arcanine will then hopefully take one of the hits and get knocked out. And Pikachu can tank the second hit. Thanks to the damage done for Raticate earlier, Arcanine is damaged, which means it's more likely that it will get knocked out this turn. Which is nice to see. And then here we can then send out Nidoking. And we can then Thunderbolt and heal, or actually use an extra X Special if we want to take it risky. Does choose to play it safe and heal, makes sense. And then next turn you can go Thunderbolt Helping Hand to see if you can try and get this knockout on Weezing. Or if Aspect chooses to play safe, he can also heal. Yasuo does also reach Rhyhorn. We do have a little bit of problem with his feed, a little bit, as it is currently now frozen on the Rhyhorn. I do believe that Drill Run did hit, but we are not quite seeing how much damage that is, so... Oh, that almost got the knockout on Yasuo. So the strat for Yasuo with Rhyhorn is instead of using X Special on a Pikachu, use an X attack on a Rhyhorn instead, and use Drill Run instead. So, it is better as there is a more likelihood chance you actually get the 3-turn fight, the 2-turn fight instead of a 3-turn fight, whereas Pikachu is most likely going to be a 3-turn fight, but you can't always get everything you want. Coming into this next fight, Aspect does have to be careful about one thing and one thing only, and that is the fact that he is minus speed. So, most of the time, minus speed does not matter. Archer's Golbat is the only exception to the rule. This minus speed absolutely matters, and you will need to deal with that. There are ways to deal with it. One is just fully heal so you can tank and crunch. The other is to just hope and pray, I guess. I guess also X attack Zippy Zap could maybe be an option if you're really scared of Golbat, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. But did I just one-hit KO the Weezing? Like, I'm not being crazy. That one-hit KO'd the Weezing. I think that was like a crit Thunderbolt or something, because normally X Special Thunderbolt does not kill. But I guess you just crit, so I guess you don't have to worry too much about that. We will be seeing the crunch. Yep, that is to be expected. I still think this is still good enough HP that Aspect can go into the next fight without too much problem. So we'll see about that. Yasuo having a little bit of trouble as Weezing decides to go for Sludge Bomb plus Poison, which is always not great. But thankfully, Yasuo will not be outsped by this Golbat as he is not minus speed and can do this next fight easily. As Albi is also on the same Archer fight, I believe this fight is much simpler, which is just X Special and Glitzy Glow. And I don't think there's going to be too much of a problem with this fight. I think the only problem might, again, just be the Golbat. But I think that's not too much of an issue for Albi. Aspect now heading into the Giovanni fight. This fight for Pikachu is relatively simple. You X attack twice turn 1. Turn 2 you then X attack plus Zippy Zap. And then turn 3 you X attack. You then double kick plus Helping Hand to knock out the Rhyhorn. For Albi, you can do this as a one-player fight, and it is actually done as a one-player fight. It is a bit scarier for Albi as Persian will outspeed the Eevee and does have Slash, and so it can be scary if the Slash just chooses to crit. It is a high crit move. However, Albi does have a lot of defense, so that could be in her favor. The Eevee also has a much easier time with the Rhyhorn compared to Pikachu. So, we'll see how this fight goes for her. But right now, this seems to be a very close race from all of our competitors. Like, they're all roughly in the same area. Like, Aspect is in the lead with 33 catches. Yasuo just one fight behind in Giovanni with 34. Albi, I think, is the one that is the most behind out of all the runners. Not only in terms of plot progression, but also in terms of catch count. But this ain't over. From all of our runners. We do have a little bit of an issue with, like, Yasuo's feet a little bit. But I think this is all completely fine. There does seem to be, as Yasuo's feet does seem to be freezing. here and there. Now we have the ability to fly. And so now we're going to go fly back to tower to get ourselves the Poke Fruit so we can actually continue the video game. It'll be interesting to see if I believe Aspect is going to be bringing out a fairy. Does make sense. You can still do this strat with Arcanine. It is completely fine to still do this strat with Arcanine. But yeah, we will be seeing a stream restart from Yasuko, so we will be missing Yasuko's feed for a little bit, but that is going to be A-okay. Also, we don't have Aspects scene for some reason. So both Albie and Aspect will be heading to the thing. So yeah, first did Oopsie and a little bit of text. So we are going to be seeing Yasuko is doing a little bit of a stream reset as we are having a little bit of problem with his feed, but we will be showing off his feed in a little bit. Hopefully it gets all fixed. So Yasuko's still in this race. Don't worry about it. It's just that we are doing a little bit of a tech fixer-uppy. So we are now Pokemon Tower. For, I believe, all of our runners, the only thing we would like to see here is a Ghastly. There is a chance that you can find Zubat and Machop, and not Machop and Zubat or Cubone, but those are very rare spawns. Technically speaking, Cubone is more likely to spawn here than it is in Rock Tunnel, but due to the fact that there isn't much floor space for Pokemon to spawn in the first place, it means that it's actually less likely to see Tower Cubone than it is to see Rock Tunnel Cubone. All the runners are heading into tower. Albie is just about to enter. Aspect is already facing the first Haunter. Has not found a Ghastly yet. Never mind, has found a Ghastly, just as I said it. Ghastly can be a bit of an awkward catch. It will be interesting to see what kind of berry do they choose to go for. It does make sense for Aspect to go for Banana Berry, as well as the Ultra Ball. As Albie did just enter tunnel. We're hoping to see, I don't think, in terms of like catches, I think any of our runners require Ghastly. I think Albie's like the only one that would like to see a Ghastly. But it's not the end of the world if she doesn't see it, but does see it anyway, so let's go. I also realized that Albie did actually pick up the extra Ultra Balls. Whereas Aspect did not. No! Hits the spinner. So Aspect did hit an extra spinner. Sadly, this is just the 2-poke one. So we'll have to deal with 2 Haunters. So it's not the end of the world. But I do believe that these Haunters have surprisingly more defense than normal. As you can see right there, that Haunter lived on 1. I remember that. I remember that much that these Haunters are special. So Yasuko is the first one to actually reach the cutscene, but does not actually have a Ghastly. A nice Tower Cubone for Albie, despite the fact that she does not need that. So sad for Aspect that he did hit the trainer. And Yasuko is apparently watching the film. Interesting. He's either dealing with the stream problem or he's actually watching this film. Never mind, he's just... We saw the Ghost Marowak for a little bit, but that's fine. He's probably dealing with internet issues as well as juggling the race, so it can be a bit tricky. Definitely a very close race with all of our competitors. This is something that we like to see, and does find a Ghastly. So all of our runners finding Tower Ghastly, which is really nice to see for all of our runners. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of berry or strats that our runners choose to go for. Yasuo is actually just choosing to go for double grades instead of switching to ultras. As Yasuo apparently does not have Nana, but does not get punished for that. So as Ghastly just choose to attack. And does get in with double grade, so that's nice to see. As Yasuo also gets Kingler. So Aspect will be the first one heading into Jesse and James 3. It is the exact same strat as Jesse and James 2. The only difference is the fact that Aspect is going to be... I would say he's using a fairy, but I don't think he's changed Arcanine from slot 2 of his party, so it's actually just going to be a Pikachu and Arcanine. So... interesting to see what happens here. But did actually put a fairy in his party as well, so... even if it doesn't happen, even then it's gonna be fun. Oh no, it did switch. So never mind, I'm being stupid. So there's actually a good chance that this Clefairy could live, as when Clefairy is caught, it does have naturally high affection to you. But thanks to the power of love, but that did not happen today. Oh, this Pikachu is somewhat tanky. Like, it took that Sludge Bomb of the champ. I probably wouldn't X Special here, but you could make that argument to do so if you want to take a gamble. But it does make sense that Aspect is playing safe. As Yasuo is also going to the same fight, we are having, again, a little bit more of a beat issue, but that is okay. Eevee does have a bit of a different strat. It's just using X Special. It's essentially, it's kind of similar. It's X Special Glitzy Glow, as well as some healing with Bouncy Bubble, but it's effectively the exact same strat as... mostly the exact same strat as Pikachu. So Arcanine does go down, but it's actually very convenient for Aspect for Arcanine to go down, as we can still ride Fainted Pokemon, and it means it won't get experience from catches in the next route. So for all of our runners, the Jesse and James fight seems to be going pretty well. Honestly, for at least Aspect and... well, I can't say much about Yasuo, but at least for Aspect, it's actually went very well. And well, the same as Albi. Yeah, the main difference is that Eevee can tank better, so... that's why Eevee has a slightly better time, but Pikachu... but overall, it's actually not that bad. I would probably just take a heal here for Yasuo. Oh, he's gambling. And it does pay off. As Yasuo does hit the +4 or +2 plus helping hand range. Which is nice. Unless it's +6, in which case I'm stupid. But it shouldn't be +6. So now all of our runners are doing some party management. Keeping anything that needs to evolve, as well as their ride of choice. Eevee being Rhyhorn, as doesn't have a better option, and Aspect being Arcanine. This is also going to be where we see Yasuo evolve his Growlithe into an Arcanine. And we are then heading to a place called Pokemon Road, which is going to be the second to last big catching section. Well, this is essentially the last catching section, Pokemon Road plus Pokemon Mansion. Or Route 17 plus Pokemon Mansion. And the main thing that we want to catch here, well, the main two things we want to catch is, of course, a Ponyta and a Staryu. Ponyta is going to be our new ride Pokemon, and for Albi, she wants to see it as soon as possible. Aspect, you don't have to see it as soon as possible, but you would like to see it. But also, Staryu is going to be very important, as Staryu is going to be our main for the rest of the game. So we are going to be main switching. Sadly, Pikachu and Eevee just aren't quite good enough for the Elite Four and Champion and every other fight coming afterwards. But Starmie is going to absolutely cook the rest of the endgame. Although it does depend on how good these Staryus are, because the interesting thing about Staryu is it's kind of like the interesting dynamic between the game, between the Pikachu and the Staryu, is that with Pikachu, we know the stats, we don't know the nature. Here, we know the nature, we just don't know the stats. So, Aspect, from what I can tell from his tracker, he needs Duck. He has marked a lot of things. He has marked Tentacool in his tracker, but he only has 52 planned. So, if he does find everything here, he does not have to go for the cool. Albie has 51 planned, does not have Tentacool planned, as far as I can tell. Does not, so we'll see if Albie does get everything here. Does find Bird, but does choose to not go for the Bird. Prefer to find Small Bird, but Big Bird can do. I guess that she doesn't want to find it. And does find a Ponyta. She does have to go back up, but I do believe that going back up for that Ponyta is well worth it. This Aspect does find his Ponyta. That's a super-sized pony. Okay. So, Aspect is going to be here for a little bit as all 4 of his things is going to evolve. So, I guess for Aspect, you enjoy your 2-minute break, because that's what you're going to get. So, Aspect is going to be there for 2 whole minutes, evolving everything. So let's see what kind of spawns Yasuo gets. Does choose to pick up the Super Lore. It is technically optional to pick up the Super Lore, but if you are think you are low on lores, you can go for it. Does find Duck immediately, so that's at least nice to see from Yasuo. Wait, did he not catch the Duck? Or the feed just reset afterwards? Let me just... Oh no, he already caught the Duck earlier, so he can't catch the Duck here, so... Never mind, so Duck is not an option for Yasuo, as he already caught the Duck way earlier. But does need to find his other stuff. Does find a Doduo. Does find a Pidge, but I don't see it, so he's not needing the Pidge, so really he just needs... Pony to spawn and he could leave. So as long as Yasuo finds Pony, he could actually just leave. Whereas Aspect, I do believe, needs a few more things to spawn. He does have Pony, but he kind of needs to wait for either the Duck or the Bird to spawn. So he either needs Doduo, or he needs... Psyduck to spawn, and then he can technically skip one if he wants to go risk with Tentacool. And as for Albie, she has marked the entire Pidgey line. If she does get Pidgey, she can technically go get Vulpix, as she's still technically on an odd tracker, on an odd catch count. Sorry, on odd plan. But we'll see what she decides to do. She probably has a plan that I'm not aware of. But does use a rare candy immediately. I do believe that, yes, so Yasuo does have a repel, so he is going to be using the repel trick to make sure that Pony does spawn. Aspect is either waiting for Doduo or Psyduck to spawn, and he's getting currently none of them. Oh, he's going for Eevee. So, like I said, he doesn't even need Psyduck or the other thing, but you know what? Eevee also works too, so this is Silver Raz, Double Ultra, Great instead of Excellent, so it's not quite the best catch rate you can get, and does break out, unfortunately. Is gonna try again, and this time does get an Excellent. So let's hopefully this time it stays in. 96.4% and does stay in. So this does mean that Aspect does have a 5-stone, so he can choose to leave. I do believe. Yeah, you can choose to leave if neither Psyduck nor Doduo spawns. You'd probably want to see either one of the other spawn, but you don't have to stay here anymore. If he just chooses not to and does run into something else, that's a pitch. He does not need a pitch. So he likes to... So ideally, if you don't want to... Yeah, so now he finally has Psyduck. He now no longer needs to... Oh, wait, no. Add some... Okay, good. So, for those who don't know, you cannot do 2P if you don't have a second to catch. So, Yasuo's screen is currently stuck on the Ultra Ball, so we don't exactly know what happened. But according to his tracker, he has 41 caught. And the only thing that he's going to need to catch now is Star... Wait, no, that's the wrong tracker. He has 41 caught. The only thing he needs to catch is Star and Grimer. He does seem to have everything else. As for Albie, yeah, Albie needs to see the Doduo. It'll be interesting to see what kind of adjustments she's going to choose to make now. But yes, Aspect only now needs to catch Grimer and needs to catch Staryu, needs to catch a Staryu, and that will be done with his catches. Albie is going to get Doduo as well as the Pidge. So Pidge will now give her 3 catches, assuming this evolves in time. Again, she's still at 51 planned. So I think, just to make sure that the plan count actually goes, I would probably cut Weezing and just evolve Vulpix into Ninetales. Assuming Pidge does evolve in time. But Albie has run out of lures. I'm hoping she picked up the super lure. If not, there might be problems, but... Yeah, so Yasuo now using the super lure is the first to get past the cutscene and will be the first runner to get their star. So we're going to see what kind of CP values this star is going to get. CP is not a true indicator of how good or how bad a star is, but it is an indicator on overall how good the star is. So I'm going to be focusing on on Yasuo's screen, see when he gets a star and see what happens. We have got some interesting news that Aspect might be run out of Ultra Balls. It does mean that he has to now catch both Star and Grimer in a Great. Grimer is actually not the worst thing with a Great Ball, but Star can be a bit problematic in a Great Ball. But so far has not found any Star yet. So hopefully it doesn't take too long. Aspect actually finding an immediate star. And also there's Yasuo. Also, I need to double check. 1050 for Aspect. High Tentacle. And Yasuo is 1079. So Yasuo is having the better star of our three runners so far. Sorry, Yasuo has it, but again, CP is just combined stats. It's not full stats. As Albie is now also reaching the same route, and hopefully she can find a star. There is something spawning over that side, but that is a Tentacruel. That is not something that we want to catch. As now Albie has to now go ahead and find her star. As she does. And her star is... So 1050, 1079, and... Ooh! 1104! This is a very good star for Albie. So just to repeat for the star counts, Aspect had 1,050, Yasuko had 1,079, and Albie has a star of 1,104. So that is a very good star for Albie. Well, at least in terms of CP, we're going to see the stars. For what I have heard, Aspect actually has a very good star. I was not checking the stats for Yasuko. But I do believe that Aspect just needs to find the Grimer, and that's about it. Yasuko also just needs to find the Grimer, and that's about it. And Albie just needs to find a Coughing, and that is also about it. Ooh, that's not great for Yasuko, having no special. So Yasuko has no special, but is insanely fast. Apparently Aspect has good special. Or at least it's just a good star. And Albie, I'm expecting Albie's star to be incredibly good. Because... yeah, so... Arana's getting good luck with their special... well, good luck with their stars. I'm pretty... again, we haven't had confirmation of how good or bad Albie's star is yet, as we have not seen her do her menu. My guess is that she's going to do her menu the room before Scientist Ted, which makes a lot of sense. Gonna do a little bit of party management. I did not pay attention. Her special attack is 87 for her star at 45. So, Yasuko and Aspect catching their final Pokemon. And I believe... actually, no. This is all catches done for all of our runners. There's going to be no more catches for any of our runners going forward. And apparently we just jumped from where Yasuko was to Scientist Ted, so that's interesting. That's a funny jump cut that we've done there. And so this actually means that Yasuko is actually, in terms of plot progression and in terms of catches, the person most ahead, as Aspect is not very far behind. So we have a very tight race for the lead for the Pikas, but don't count out Albie just yet. She is one catch behind, but she's also, again, on the exact same fight as everyone else, just a little behind. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see how much of these runners are going to go all the way until the very end. And we see from all the runners, they seem to all be doing Rapidash strats for this fight, as every single runner does get Thunderbolted, which is a bit of a shame, but oh well. That's not the end of the world. As Aspect does have to go ahead and remind himself to pick up the Firestone. Unless Flareon is not Aspect. Nope, he remembered. I mean, Magmar is an option. But I don't think he is out of Ultra Ball, so he is going to be picking up that Firestone. That Firestone will allow him to evolve his Eevee into a Flareon, aka the best counter evolution. Do not argue with me. As Yasuko is going to 47 early. That is a choice. I guess he's gonna go for like being one level higher later. I guess that must be his choice, because I guess that 114 at 47 is not exactly the best special attack at all. So we might be seeing turnarounds from Yasuo early. Again, Yasuo does technically have... No, that wasn't a misinput first. He actually went into the candy menu. Well, I don't know if it was a misinput. I don't know if he wanted to candy the Starmie or if he wanted... Oh, he wanted to candy Pony. Ooh, okay, so this is going to be a bit interesting. So Pony might not evolve in time. I think Pony will evolve in time, I believe. But I might be wrong on that. This does kind of screw you over in terms of experience in the late game. But we'll see what happens. So, Yasuo heading into Blaine. Blaine's gym puzzle is pretty simple. You have to answer the correct questions. But the very easy solution to the problem is 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. But yeah. Yasuo is first into the fight gym, Albi just behind Yasuo, and Aspect just behind Albi. So this is absolutely very much a close race. Do keep in mind that Aspect does have one extra poke compared to everyone else. So I would like to make the assumption that Aspect is slightly ahead compared to the other two, but not to mention that Yasuo does have some Rapidash issues, but we'll see how that pans out for him later. This fight, very much a simple fight. You X special and you scold. Hope you want to see the confused race skip. If not, you have to use one of your free fall heals. We do see flamethrower, and it's essentially a fight from here. If you are slow, there is a bit of a gamble with, I believe, Ninetales and Rapidash, but Yasuo is at 47, so this shouldn't be much of a problem. And I believe both Albi and Aspect Star are fast enough that neither Rapidash nor Ninetales will be an issue. Aspect apparently giving it the answers of 1, 1, 3, 2 being the best answers. Wait, you mean no 1, 2, 2, 3? Yeah, now that makes more sense. Like, if you do one on the second and the third one, you will be fighting. So going for X special. Aspect actually being the only one of the three runners getting confused race skip, so a little bit of nice time loss there. Nice time save, sorry. So we'll see what kind of speeds that we'll see about this Albi. Apparently they say that Albi might be a little bit of a slower star, but we'll see about that. Oh, but Yasuo didn't get... Oh. So, Yasuo not getting the Ponyta evolved in time actually means that he does actually have to walk to Vermilion Gym, to the Vermilion City Gym, instead of riding the Ponyta, thanks to the unfortunate misclick of the rare candy onto Starmie instead of thing, which might kind of have problems of experience later, as you are going to be lower level on certain fights, but I don't think that's going to be a bit of an issue. I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue, but we are going to be seeing, I think the first time in this entire tournament, riding a Dodrio. As it is actually slightly faster than walking speed, as I can tell. So, it's not the worst thing in the world, but yes, for the first time in this entire tournament, we are seeing a speedrunner riding a Dodrio. Let's go. Alright, so now we enter into Vermilion Gym. if you are a person who's ran the old games or ran Fire Red and Leaf Green, you would know that this puzzle sucks. But in this game, they made it so that the puzzle is always the same. No gimmick, no nothing, just you hit the top trash can, you hit the trash can below, and all the trainers are giving you hint on which trash cans it is, but if you know the answer to the question, you don't have to worry about it. And we are now doing effectively a little gym cleanup as we are dealing with both the electric gym and the grass gym now. Thankfully, because we are over leveled, we could easily deal with these gym leaders, no problem. So, in the meantime, I hope everyone is having a fantastic morning or fantastic evening, depending on where you are. And, you know, hope you guys have been enjoying this tournament round so far, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying the commentary. You are watching this on YouTube, make sure you click that subscribe button, it does help out. And I know first there is one more race later today. Because guess who's racing in it? Am I ready for the race? Well, we'll see. But that race is only going to happen much later. We don't have to worry about that race. We are having a race right here because this is, like, really close between all of our runners. Like, they are all within, like, one fight from each other, which is, like, really nice to see. As we are about to see some more Dodrio also going to deposit? I guess that makes sense. Go ahead and fully heal the Starmie. And also go into the TM case to teach Thunderbolt, as this Starmie now has almost perfect coverage. There's only one Pokemon in the entire game that we cannot hit for neutral or super effective, and we will be dealing with that with a different amount of different strategies based on what our runners are going to choose to do. Now Yasuo is going to fly all the way to Cerulean on his Dodrio. I still find it really funny that he's on a Dodrio. Look at him go. That Dodrio is putting in some work. As both of our runners of Albion Aspect are also teaching Thunderbolt. Essentially, Water and Psychic, very good coverage. Because this is Kanto, and so there are really no Dark types. So Psychic and Water just hit everything for neutrally. And the things that doesn't hit neutrally, we just have Thunderbolt to deal with super effectively. So another little thing is that many of our trainers have literally the worst vision ever, and I think there's supposed to be like multiple trainers that are supposed to be mandatory, but by just hugging the wall, none of these trainers are actually mandatory, so let's go. It'll also be interesting to see what Pokemon our speedrunners think are cute. Yasuo did pick the Star, Aspect also picked the Star, and Albi also picked the Star. But based on party management, I do think that our runners are going to be going for some interesting stats. I think Yasuo is definitely going to be going for Dodrio stat later on, as well as I do believe both Aspect and Albi are going to go for Rapidash strat, so that's going to be interesting to see. So Yasuo about to enter into to fight Erica. Erica is absolutely an easy fight. You just spam Psychic, and that's it. You can Hydro Pump Vitangela if you accidentally miss input. It is a range to KO, but also you are risking Hydro Pump. So please don't do that. That is just my humble recommendation to not Hydro Pump Vitangela. It is funny though, so if you want to go for swag strats, by all means, go for swag strats. So we are seeing, in chat, Aspect asking, are they going to go for 1P? Be interesting to see if, you know, well, to be fair, it is going to be interesting to see what positions these runners end up being. But there's a lot of fights that still can be dependent on, so it's not the end of the world. Like, we still have Archer being a decider, we still have Caroline being a decider, we still have Giovanni being a decider, and we still also have, you know, there's still many fights that many of these runners that will still decide whether or not if they're gonna play it safe or choose to play risky. So it will be interesting to see. Just want to give a quick little thing right now that Yasuo, Aspect, and where's Albie? And Albie are on 3 points. So second place is still in the tournament by technicality, assuming your time is better than the medium, which the current medium is 3:08. 3:08.53, but there are still this race and one more race to decide what the medium is going to be. First place gets themselves to 6 points, which is definitely in contention of getting at least that 8 points to at least get into Top Cut. Whereas 85, whereas 5 point second place does get there, so as long as you are second place and above the threshold, you are fine. But if you lose this race, you are out of the tournament, so it will determine on whether you are first place or last place. So first place, you at least have one more chance to get to... You at least have a chance to get to that 8 point... Have a better chance to get to that 8 point threshold, but you might have to face Randall and Etchi in the next round. 5 points will also get you there, but you then have to win the round afterwards to get to that 8, assuming your second place is there. And then, of course, there is... Then if you lose, you are unfortunately out of this tournament, as only those who have a chance to qualify will be able to play round 4. So there is something there is stakes on the line, especially to the person who is last place. But even if you are second place, you still have to beat the current medium, which right now is a 3:08. So we'll see what happens. Aspect, I believe, hitting the Fire Blast, so having a very good blue fight. That is not the worst move you have to hit in this entire speedrun. As Albie, I do believe, is also going for Fire Blast strats, if I am not mistaken. She is going for Fire Blast, and I believe Yasuo had Dodrio, so I believe he's going for X-Attack strats, and I believe has already done the fight, so we don't know if he went for Dodrio or if he went for Rapidash. Only time will tell. But now we get into everyone's least favorite fight. The worst fight in the entire game, Archer 2. There's a lot of things that can happen in this fight, and two of our runners are happening Archer 2 at the exact same time. So let's see if all of our runners get blessed with good Archer 2s. There's many things that this Muck can do, and this Electrode. We ideally like to see Self-Destruct, no Protect, but we'll have to see what happens. So the first thing we do is Psychic Bop and see what happens. For Yasuo's screen, we are going to see, assuming it doesn't jitter or stutter or slow down, Thunderbolt, no Protect. A fine turn 1. Not the greatest, but it is in track of the fastest turn 4 in the game. Aspect also getting Thunderbolt Thunderbolt no Protect. So also on track of getting the fastest turn 4 in the game. 4 turn. So they both have the same turn 1. Oh, but Aspect has 1 super potion. So this is starting to get a bit scary. So Cubone is attacking though, as Sucker Punch does connect. But Yasuo getting the Thunder. Oh, that's not great. And Cubone misses the. Ooh. So both Yasuo and Aspect having interesting fights, but still on track for 4 turns. Albi had self-destruct, no protect, so she's actually having the best archer right now. So we're hoping to see Cubone take down the Marowak. It just goes for focus energy, so still on track for 4 turn for both of our runners. But Albi is on track for a 3-turn fight. Let's see if she gets the 3-turn fight. That's a shame. So, unfortunately, Aspect is not getting the 4-turn fight here. He's getting a 5-turn. But Yasuo does get the 4-turn, which is nice to see. What does Albi get? Is she... So, Yasuo getting the 4-turn, Aspect getting a 5-turn. I believe this is still for Albi on track for a 3-turn, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it 4-turn? Or was there a protect that I wasn't paying attention to? Weezing did protect, so... Let's see if this is a 4-turn. It is a 4-turn. So, Yasuo and Albi getting themselves a 4-turn archer fight, something that you never complain. Aspect is a 5-turn archer, not the worst thing in the world, but still kind of slow. But making it, again, a very tight race between Yasuo, Aspect, and Albi. They are literally, like, Aspect and Yasuo literally, like one door behind from each other. Assuming the feeds are correct, Yasuo gets a fade to black on this teleporter on 56. Aspect's 58, so literally 2 seconds behind from each other, assuming the feeds are actually correct. Albi just a little bit behind, but she does actually have 1 more evolution, so she is about 30 seconds behind, so I would say roughly 1 fight behind the rest of the other runners, but this is an extremely close race from all of our runners. Anything can go, and anything can happen. Do note that Yasuo's feed's a bit hit and miss, so it could be that Yasuo might be more ahead than we might see, but you know what? Anything can still happen. Aspect and Yasuo are very much close together, but all it takes is 1 screw up, and all of a sudden, it's Albi's race to win. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what strats that our runners choose to do in the late game. We'll be seeing 1-piece strats. We'll be seeing 2-piece strats. Let's see. It literally only takes 1 annoying thing. Speaking of annoying thing, a Thunderbolt on... or a move on Starmie means that Yasuo does have to take time to heal that off. Which is, again, a bit slower, but... Oh, no! Albi getting the paralysis! So you now have to heal the paralysis. There's, like, you heal that first. And then, after Giovanni, I guess you have to make a decision of whether or not you want to heal. So, bit unfortunate for Albi getting the paralysis on on Jesse and James. Thankfully, Giovanni is not a risky fight, so you can just go into that fight and then heal afterwards, and then have a much safer Sabrina fight. But still very much annoying to see. And also just be able just to do the menus earlier might actually still be beneficial for Albi, so probably just wait to heal until after you do the shop might be the play. like, yeah. Heal, like, for at least for Albie's sake, I'll probably heal before Sabrina, but also take the opportunity to move the X items as well, and just do most of the menu before Fuchsia. I think the only thing you shouldn't do is the rare candy, but aside from that, you're fine. But the Geo fight, very simple. You X special, you Scald, you win. That's it. That's the fight. Like, Starmie's not a problem. Well, sorry, Persian's not a problem. Neither the Doug Trio, well, not the Doug Trio, neither the Rhyperia or Nidoqueen is a problem. Rhyperia? Wait, no, Rhydon. Rhyperia's not, no, Rhyhorn. It's not even Rhydon yet. Whoops. I'm getting my Rhyhorn. So Rhyperia's not even in this game. Why did I say Rhyperia? Alright, Yasuo and Aspect leaving the thing. We are going to still get 2 more Pokemon. And I do believe for both Aspect and Yasuo, especially Yasuo, but Aspect is going to be getting the rare candy from upstairs, as well as grabbing the more important thing, which is the Lapras. I don't necessarily believe that Yasuo necessarily needs the rare candy, because he did give 4 to Starmie already. But the experience is a bit off, and you will not reach certain levels in specific timing, but it's a fine copium. Does pick up the rare candy. And Albie also heading up to get the Lapras. Do remind yourself to get the Porygon. That is a Pokemon that I have apparently forgotten a multitude of times when I was reloading this game, but thankfully it's not the worst thing to get. And now it's time for shopping, and I want to pay attention to for all of our runners, because I want to see what items they buy. And specifically, are they choosing to do any of the 1P strats that are second? I do believe that Aspect and Yasuo still have the X defense, so Giovanni 1P is still on the table. So let's have a look and see what items we're going to see. I do believe that Aspect is doing the full heal skip shop, which is nice to see. So we are seeing 11, we are seeing X speeds. We are seeing X special defenses, so 1P is on the table for Aspect, as well as buying 101 X specials, which I believe that is enough for the rest of the game, although I'm not quite sure. Actually, Aspect, you might need like 110, so you might want to go back and shop there later. Yasuo also going to be doing some shopping as well, so also doing the full heal skip shop. Confident that you have enough status items for the rest of the game. The feed is stuck, so I'm not quite sure what items Yasuo's buying. He's buying X speeds. Albie is buying X special defenses. Did Yasuo skip the X special defense? I'm not quite sure. X special defense does, so Albie does buy the X defense as well. So Aspect does have the X special defense. Albie also does have the X special defense as well as the X defend, so can go for 1P strats for both. Yasuo, I'm not quite sure if he bought the X special defenses. I know as a Pika runner he does have the X defense, so he can go for 1P Giovanni if he so wishes. But we will have the opportunity to see this once he gets into the menu in the Sabrina fight, as Aspect is about to go into the Sabrina fight right now, effectively taking the lead from Albie and Yasuo. So this fight is pretty simple. you X special attack, and then depending on if you see light screen or not, you're gonna do some other things. So there is something called light screen skip, but it is not consistent. So let's see what... X attack, X special, there we go. So we are seeing light screen turn 1. If you want to see light screen, you ideally want to see light screen. But we do see light screen from our runners. And the fight is pretty much just now just a normal fight. Just don't die and you're good. So Yasuko now also entering the Sabrina fight. And we're gonna see if he has actually bought special defenses or not. And also see what kind of fight he gets. He has not bought X special defenses. So this is a very telling sign that Yasuko will not be doing any 2P, any 1P shenanigans during Lance and Champion. And most likely not during Agatha either. So Aspect has the choice of doing 1P or 2P. Albi has the choice of doing 1P or 2P. Yasuko has forced himself, at the very least, to not do 2P on at least Lance and Champ. So if the races are listening, that is going to be a very interesting decision as to whether or not our races are going to go for 1P or 2P. It does mean that Aspect can kind of have a okay lead for the rest of the game. But you know what? But this does give Albi a chance, if she chooses to go 1P strats the entire time, to get second place. Yasuko is not 49, he has used a rare candy, so you can candy now to fix it, or you could take a Gamba and just say, you know what, we're just gonna rock 49, rock 48 until we get it. So it'll be interesting to choose. If he does go for candy, it might affect affection, so we'll see what happens. Right now, all of our runners are doing the menuing of removing everything from their party, moving the X items so that it's easier to just get to X specials, so you don't have to do multiple inputs. Yasuko is choosing to rare candy to fix the rare candy mistake earlier. Hopefully that doesn't screw him over with affection. As our runners are heading into Fuchsia City. And see if they have 50 Pokemon. Aspect does have 50, so he's not getting kicked by Koga. Yasuko is... No, I'm assuming Bruno turnaround as well. Depending on how many X items and healing items that Yasuko uses from now until then, there's a good chance that we might see Bruno turnarounds from Yasuko. So, 2 of our runners have gotten early teeth. Yasuko is choosing to do late teeth. I'm pretty sure that is a mistake, according to him on his chat, but that could also be something else. As we go into Kaden, effectively the final boss of this gym, as we see from Aspect's side, Moonblast special attack drop into a Protect. So that's going to be a bunch of Psychics wasted for Aspect, so that's not great. That's not a great start for him. Yasuko, let's see what we see. X special attack, Toxic, so is going to choose to heal the Toxic, but there is a potential downside. Wait, doesn't have antidotes. Oh, wait. Oh boy, that's a minimize. Double Protect? Oh, at least hit through the minimize, but Jesus. Jesus, Caden. I know you're evil, but damn. As Albie now heading into her Caden fight. Well, let's see what kind of fight she gets. So X special on Albie, gets a Moonblast, does not get the special attack drop. That's at least nice. And does actually get Psychic, so Albie so far does not have any turns lost on Caden yet. The feed did kind of just stop, but that's okay. Yeah, Albie having the best Caden possible, so that's great for her. So Aspect now dealing with Koga. This fight's pretty simple, but it can be a bit trolly with the amount of protects that Koga has. So we'll see what happens. I think Aspect is having a decent Koga fight. Let's see about Yasuko. Doesn't seem to lose any turns on the Weezing, but it can lose turns elsewhere. But I'm more interested to see how many turns Albie loses, because so far she hasn't lost a single turn yet. Aspect leaving with 4 Psychics, which is basically the bare minimum. Not ideal, but at least you have 4. Albie does get turn 1 Toxic, which is a bit annoying, but that's fine. Does lose 1 turn there. Oh, Yasuko right out of Psychics. I'm hoping that he still has the Elixir. Or some way to heal PP. I hope he hasn't used his Elixir yet, because if he has, that's going to be a problem. If he hasn't, then it should be fine. If not, he will have to Mum heal. I'm not sure, like, the only thing I'm not sure is, did he use his Elixir early or did he use his Elixir late? It's something I'm not quite sure of yet, but we'll figure that out later. So now we finally get our final HM. We're going to be using our Max Repels, that way we don't run into any Pokemon by accident, and we need to fly to Viridian City, not Pallet Town, to activate the gym puzzle. Iron, Yasuko did not ran out of Psychics by Mach. That's what happened. So now Yasuko... he is not poisoned, and if he was, he probably healed the poison. So all of our runners now are going into Viridian City, and going into a very interesting gym, being Giovanni's gym. There are some risky plays that you can go for, specifically one of the Ace trainers, I believe his name is Samuel, has 2 strats depending on what you want to do and what your special attack is. There's the normal strat, which is 2 players with X special plus Scold. There's the 1-player strat, which is Hydro Pump, and there's also a 2-player strat with Psychic plus Stomp if your special attack is high enough. Do note that I have not checked Yasuko's special attack, but in order to safely go for the Hydro Pump range, you do need to be 122 special attack or higher. And if you are not that, then yeah. If your special attack is also really good, you can just Psychic. However, I don't think I've ever seen someone having a 144 special attack by Samuel. At least not yet. So Aspect going for the first trader. Do note that even though Aspect may have a good enough special attack, I believe, he does not have enough psychics to actually go for any extra psychic stuff. He has exactly 4. He needs to have 3 leaving. So he needs to keep his psychics. So he will not be going for any psychic shenanigans at all. Do note that, yes, as long as you are second place and beating the median, you are still in the tournament. So do keep that in mind. It's only if you are in last place that you are not in the tournament. Yasuo, yes, you can go round 4 with 5. 5 is the minimum. Five is the absolute minimum you need. So we are seeing Aspect going for it's only last place. Wait. No, 7 is... No, 5 is the min, because in order to get into the finals, you need 8. So apparently 7 is mathematically possible. But if you want the best chance, 8. You want to be at 5 going into the next round. So we are seeing Yasuo going for the Hydro Pump. Let's see if he gets the pump. He does hit the pump. Let's go. So we are seeing some interesting statistics. 7 is likely possible. But if you want the highest chance of getting into the top 9, you want to at least be at 5 points. That way you can try and get to 8. As for our runners to note, our current median is 308.53. So if you want to get to that medium, you want to see Albie also going for the Hydro Pump and misses! But still lives, so has another chance. Whew, okay. So Albie does need to heal here, but thankfully Hastami does survive. It is sadly you did miss a Hydro Pump, but you know what? At least you lived. At least you didn't die yet, so you're still in this race. As we do see Aspect just opting to go for the 2P strat. No need to risk anything. As does have a comfortable lead. But yes, second place, I believe it's second place. As long as I believe you beat the medium. So right now the medium is 308.53. So if you beat the medium, guaranteed yes. If you don't beat the medium, we do not know if 7 is mathematically possible. So for your best odds, get to 8. Get to 8 and get second and beat 308.53. But do note that Albie is behind you and will be trying to catch up. So as Yasuo has successfully done 1P Giovanni, has gone past the and Albie not too far behind, just 2 to 3 pokes behind. So hopefully she gets 1P Giovanni too as well. So we're gonna see the X defend. We're gonna see an X special. And we're gonna see a Scald. No funny business today. And I do believe both Albie and Yasuo have enough HP that they do not need to heal going into the next fight in Rival. Aspect does not has to heal before the Rival fight. I mean, I'm just gonna say first, you do have access to their splits, and assuming that they have BPT, they might be on pace or something. So, at least for 2 of them. I'm not sure about the 3rd one. So, you have access to this information. So we'll see what kind of pace. But like I said, if you somehow know what pace this is gonna be, you're kind of lying to yourself because you don't have access to their splits. But as you see, did Aspect heal? I know he did 2P. I don't remember him healing. But he did summon the second controller, so he must have healed. So I'm probably stupid. Anyway, we're now heading into Rival 5. This is a fight you absolutely have to do 2P. And we have a few things we have to deal with. We have Pidgeot, and the fight is simple. We have to Thunderbolt plus an X special, and then turn 2 you X speed. This is not this is not Gen 8, so dynamic speed is not that. This is actually the one time I kind of wished Marowak came in second for Aspect, because he doesn't actually have enough Psychics to actually Psychic the Marowak. He does have to go for Scald. As I do believe this is the second one for Yasuo, so sadly he does also have to go for Scald, where he probably would have preferred Psychic, but that's okay. And I'll be just right behind her. I don't think, for Eevee specifically, if you have enough speed, you can skip the X speed on Raichu. I don't think she has enough speed to do that, but if she does, we will be seeing the X speed skip. I don't think she does, but let's see if that does happen. You cannot do that on Pikachu, as Jolteon is way too fast. So we are going to see an X special on Aspect on Albi, and we are going to see Vileplume come out second. This is going to be the turn that we're going to see whether or not we see X speed skip or not. We do not see X speed skip, so the speed of Albi is not quite as high to do so, but that's okay. You just go for X speed of an X special. And now our runners are heading into the Elite Four. Aspect heading into the badge check first. Yasuo not too far behind Aspect. And Albi not too far behind Yasuo. Now do note, there are some things to note. Yasuo did not buy X special defenses. He is forced to do 2P strats. Albi, on the other hand, does not. So, we might be seeing at least one CE4 from at least one of our runners. Aspect, because he knows that Yasuo is not going for 1P, is probably safe to go for 2P from now until the very end. Don't take any risks or gambas. Or at least don't take any unnecessary risks or gambas. Probably go for Lapras strats or other strats if he's more familiar with them. But we'll see what happens later on. Obviously, we have a lot of other fights that can absolutely change the narrative. We have, of course, we have Caroline, who could be a decider, and we also have other fights that could also be a decider. So let's start off with the first question. Who's doing 1C Naomi? So far, Aspect has not summoned his second controller. As I just said it, he now just summoned his second controller. As he is not doing 1C Naomi, you're that far ahead. You don't have to worry about it. Yasuo probably won't be doing 1C Naomi either. I was about to say he is doing one. He's doing one. Just remember first that Yasuo is forced to do 2P, whereas Aspect is not forced to do 2P, so it'll be interesting to see if Aspect is ahead, then you could probably just do 2P completely fine. Aspect did hit the pump and got the pump range. Yasuo did hit the pump but did miss the range. And let's see what Albi chooses to go for. Do note that Albi is in the losing position, so at this point, I wouldn't even be. I would actually not be surprised if Albie chooses to go for more risks, as if she does lose, she's out the tournament. As we do see 1P from Albie, so we are seeing a 1P Naomi today. Let's see what kind of strat, what 1P Naomi, see what strat Albie chooses to do today. So it does go for X special, so we see the crunch. So does live a crunch. Does have enough defense to live and does hit the pump. So she does get the 1P successfully. That's really nice to see. So is gaining a little bit of time on Yasuko. As you go ahead and see the juggler, Aspect be dealing with the juggler pretty nicely. And Yasuko now heading into the juggler. This juggler can be a bit trolly with a hypnosis, but overall it's not the end of the world. Yasuko does get the hypnosis miss, so gets to go for Thunderbolt. Not quite enough to get the 2-hit KO, so you are going to have to scold this, but that's completely fine. So good fight for Albie, for Aspect, good fight for Yasuko. Now it's Albie's turn to fight the juggler before we get into our next trainer skip, our final trainer skip. Hopefully all of our runners hit it. If not, we're going to have a more interesting race. Albie not getting too trolled on the Hypno fight. So all our runners are going to be taking a free heal from the police officer. Aspect going to be the first to attempt the skip. Gets the trainer skip nicely. I actually forgot what her name is. Should probably remember what her name is if I'm going to go for this skip. But if I should, yeah, Alexa skip. That's what her name is called. I don't remember trainer's name. But now we have the Great Decider of Caroline. So let's see how trolly this fight gets for Aspect, as Yasuko will also be attempting Alexa skip. So X special, Lovely Kiss gets put to sleep almost immediately. Ooh, almost used the wrong thing. Yasuko getting the trainer skip, that's nice. We do see Ice Beam, and gets the freeze! So you're seeing Scold, and gets the critical hit as well, so that's I guess a blessing in disguise. That's a very interesting Caroline. So Yasuko now also heading into Ace Trainer Caroline as well. Let's see what fight he gets. Gets Psychic turn 1. Let's hope that this Hydro Pump lands. Does land, and does get the knockout. Nice. So a much better Caroline from Yasuko compared to Aspect. Albie also getting the trainer skip very nicely. And Albie is gonna also now fight the Great Decider of Caroline. So Aspect had 1 turn lost. Yasuko pretty much getting the perfect fight. Let's see what Albie gets. So we can see an X special and see Psychic. Okay, that's good. Now we just need to see a Hydro Pump. And lands, and it gets a knockout. So Caroline being incredibly nice to all of our runners today. I didn't quite see Albie's special attack, but if she wants to be in this race and wants to have a chance to beat Yasuko, I think she has to see... She has to at least go 1P strats. It is 136, so that is a very high special attack. I believe 136, if I can get my notes up, which I do. 136 is a 14 and 16 on Albie's special attack at +4. We'll have to also hit a pump, but I think at this point, Albi's going to have to take any risk she can just to stay in this tournament. As a little reminder for anyone who does not know, Yasuko did not buy X special defenses, so Yasuko is forced to do 2P strats on the Elite Four. As we also have a little announcement, and we do have a prediction that you can bet channel points if you so wish. And today's prediction is, if I can actually get it, will Aspect get Fate? Of course. So, Fate is a move that exists, and so far there's only a handful of runners who have actually able to get Fate. I did not check if Aspect got full restore. I don't think he did, but it is something to check. But no, he did not pick up the full restore, so that does at least indicate that Aspect will be going for 2P all the way. And considering the fact that he is ahead, honestly, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. So Yasuko also, I believe, did not pick up the full restore. He didn't buy the X special defenses, so it does make sense that he's also not going for full restore. I would probably believe that Albi will be picking up the full restore if she does choose to go for 1P. Or you could see what many runners have tried to do and said, I am not picking up the full restore and hoping for Power of Love. That could also be an option for Albi to go for if she chooses to go for 1P and take that risk. At this point, I think you might have to take that gamble. We are seeing her skip the full restore, so she might be going for that gamble, depending on the thing. So, we'll see if Albi is going to get punished, or if she's going to choose to go for 2P strats. So, Aspect did reach Lorelei. He didn't check his special attack, so he might just go for +6. Honestly, I do think that you are far enough ahead that honestly going for +6 might be fine. I think Yasuko's special attack is not that great that he is forced to go for X special, as we did see Aspect having Lapras, I believe, in his party. No, Golduck. So in Agatha, you either need a duck or a bird. Well, you either need a water type or a flying type to manipulate Agatha, but we'll get to that when we get to that fight. As Yasuko also makes it into the Elite Four, I don't think he has good enough special attack, and Albi is going for 1P. So she is risking she is banking on Power of Love to proc on Agatha, which is going to be interesting to see. Yasuko does have the Lapras in his party, so he will be going for Lapras strats, as Albi is going for 1P strats. So we have 3 very interesting strats from 3 very different runners. We have a Golduck from Aspect, Lapras for Yasuko, and no Pokemon from Albi. So Albi, I guess she's going for +4 and hoping that Thunderbolts just hit the range that needs to be. Oh, Yasuko also went for +4. You wouldn't go for Hydro Pump if you're +6, so that's interesting to see from Aspect, from Yasuko, as Aspect easily deals with the first Elite Four member and now goes into the second one. So let's see if the Thunderbolt hits the range. Thunderbolt does hit the range. Now she just needs to hit the Hydro Pump. Now I do believe, yeah, Albi's HP is fine enough that you're not going to risk the thing. Oh, just miss! Ooh, 40 HP. Ooh, not sure if she has to heal that, but that might be feint range if she chooses not to heal it. So now both of our runners are going to go into Bruno. Aspect is this is the easiest of the 3 fights. It's X special attack and psychic spam. It'll be interesting to see. Aspect's at 138, so he pretty much has guaranteed Dragonite range at this point, which is nice to see. Ooh! This is huge. Yasuko has turnarounds. This is a chance for Albi to catch up. This is actually huge. Yasuko has brutal turnarounds. So this is actually a very good chance for Albi to catch up with Yasuko now. Does unfortunately have to heal thanks to the Blizzard, but this is very much a very close race between Albi and Yasuko for second place, as we're getting down to the wire. Aspect pretty much just getting through this, no problem. Summons the second player, and honestly just has not the thing. And yes, Iron Yasuko is locked into 2C. He must do 2C as he does not have any special defenses. Albi did not pick up the full restore, however. So she is reliant on Power of Love to get herself out of Agatha. Does have 140 special attack, so she's already guaranteed knockout on Dragonite. So that's not even a risk. So we want to see a close race between Albi and Yasuko. We need to see some Power of Love shenanigans. As we see for both Aspect and Yasuko, we are seeing what happens when we get the water type. The main reason why we need either a fish or a bird, or better way to say a water type or a flying type, is we need to make sure that we bait the Weezing in next so that we don't actually have to set up on the R, so we don't risk ourselves the thing. Also, I guess the second controller just decides to be a little bit late for Yasuko. And yeah, one of the advantages is that you don't actually need to heal yet going into the Agatha fight compared to the One Piece strat. So let's see if Albi gets something going here. Let's see what kind of fight do we get. Just reminder that Albi did not pick up the full restore, so is reliant on Power of Love. X special turn 1. Ooh, no Power of Love yet. X speed turn 2. Gets Crunch. Defense drop, but no Power of Love! Oh no! So now she's stuck on a loop until Power of Love kicks in. And with a defense drop, this Crunch is going to be doing... No! Oh, that is such a bad way to end the race. She tried so hard. And yet... it's over. She is going to go back in and try again. And this time, she's actually going to get herself a second Pokemon. This being the Golduck, but... what a valiant effort she tried to do. And it just didn't end up working for her. Back going for the old One Piece strat. Sorry, old 2-piece strat, but yeah, it's absolutely the right play to do. But because she was behind and she had the race, but yeah, it is absolutely heartbreaking to see a race end like that. For both Aspect and Yasuko, they probably now can just have a sigh of relief that they are pretty much safe. And it's pretty much safe for Aspect and Yasuko for them to have both first and second place respectively. We'll see what kind of times that these will be. I have no idea, but if I have to guess, like 306 for Aspect and maybe a 307 for Yasuko at the worst. But maybe it's actually much better than I thought, and I can't calculate math. But yes. valiant effort for Albie to go 1P all the way, but Agatha just had to say no. And it's a shame because, you know, the thing is, the power of love, well, I guess it did matter, but if you use the full restore, she got crit anyway, and she would lost anyway, so... It is a shame what happened. But I'll be still continuing this race. Kudos to her. As Aspect finally defeated lads. Just a FYI, Champ is not a free fight even at 2P. So, I guess so there is some, what I like to call Jesus Bird funky things can still happen. And we have seen funky things happen, so I wouldn't go past this being a completely free fight, but as long as the funky stuff doesn't happen, it is effectively a free fight for both Aspect and Yasuko. So, essentially this turn 1, you X special, X speed, and then you just set up an X special until you're +6, and then you kill everything. Like, the only thing that could probably work... For Eevee, it's +4, but for Pikachu, it is +6. And Aspect playing it safe by just not going for +4, despite the fact I think his special attack is good enough to actually go for +4. Didn't check his special attack, but I believe it's, like, good enough. Yeah, +4 is guaranteed at 139. I believe Aspect had at least that much special attack. Like, if you're guaranteed Dragonite, you're guaranteed +4 Pidgeot is what I know. Air Slash, actually getting the optimal Air Slash. I don't think that is enough for Lapras to get knocked out by a quick attack, sadly, so we won't be seeing the fastest strats from Yasuko, but that's completely fine. Sure, Iron, yeah. Rest the pump on one of the final Pokemon in the entire speedrun, sure. If you want to go for that, by all means. But yeah, like I said, this run is not over until you Thunderbolt the Slowbro. And with 2P, you have at least a backup that if you accidentally pick the wrong move, you're fine. Look, the only risk I go for Jolteon is if I can kill +4 of Psychic. Oh wait, did Slowbro come out first before Cubo? For Aspect? Before Marowak? That's interesting. But yes, GG's to Aspect. Getting what's probably going to be 307. And Yasuko getting himself, I believe, was probably 308. Ooh, yeah, just underneath the median, but cutting it close with the median. But also, GG's to Yasuko, also getting himself a great time as well in the race as well. This is definitely like a very interesting race for all of our runners. We had highs, we had lows, we had funky stuff. But overall, this was actually a very close race till the very end. And that's what we like to see from all of our runners. GG to Aspect getting himself a 307.19, and Yasuo not too far behind. I think this is more like a late 307 to him compared to an early 307, as Albi heads into finally defeating Agatha after her second attempt and beating and going towards Lance. And for Yasuo, according to at least the stream in front of me, it is going to be a 307.54. So GG's to both of those runners as we now switch our focus over to Albi, who is currently on doing Lance, doing the old 2P strat of Lance, which you start with 1P and then you start doing with 2P. So you put an X speed, and then you summon the second controller. Technically, because Hyper Beam did happen, you don't actually need to summon the second controller until a little later, but, you know, you'd rather play safe than do it sorry. You've already had Agatha being a troll to you, and now you have, you don't want to take any more risks at this point. And we also have Aspect in the call. Hello, Aspect.
Hello. That was a run.
First off, congratulations on winning the race.
And you know, I get to have the pleasure of going to the same pod as Etchy and Randall and probably T-Pat.
Well, hold on. We haven't got to that point yet. Don't. No. But yes, you are going to be facing against some top runners in the next pool. But let's talk about, you know, this race. Like, what were you feeling about? How do you feel about this particular run?
Coming out of Mount Moon, I was actually in a really good spot because I got the Clefable, the glowing Clefable spawned. Then I forgot to lure going onto Route 6.
Yep.
I had an optional in Pokemon Tower, and then also no Rhyhorn. So all sorts of stuff happened.
Yeah. The Growlithe one was kind of a weird one. It's like, did you forget? It's like you realize, I realized that you forgot to lure because I wasn't paying too much attention. I was focusing on other screens. But it's like, I don't think you lured. And then I saw the Growlithe being level 13. It's like, yeah, that's not the right level.
Yeah, and then Route 10 wasn't particularly nice either.
Yeah, I don't remember too much. Oh yeah, your Route 10 was like starting off with like a bunch of big birds, I think, if I wasn't mistaken.
It was 3 rats and a Fearow.
Yeah. So not the greatest start, but you did manage to at least, you know, claw out a victory at the very end, and
yeah, it was a really close race.
It was very much a close race between all three of you. As we see Albi heading into champion. Sadly, she did get the crunch defense drop into crunch crit, so even if she picked up the full restore, it would not have mattered.
Yeah, that's rough.
So now you're feeling alright. Now you're in the same points threshold as Etchy. Who else?
Randall.
Randall, Poketax, Etchy. So, I mean, there's also the chance that you could be up paired to one of the 7s as well. Because 9 has to pair down with one of the 8s.
Yeah, that whole situation is going to be a little strange considering there's some rematches there. I think they pretty much know one of the pairs.
Well,
yeah, it'll be interesting.
There's still, after this, one more race to go.
Yes, we still have one more race to go.
That could decide a lot of things.
Of course, I can get air/miss on 2C, but not Power of Love. Of any variety. That's just beautiful.
GG. Also, hello, Albi. Well, until Thunderbolt hits Slowbro, we're not going to say GG's yet.
I mean, I'm 2C,
Yeah.
so it's...
I mean, yeah. But yes, it is such a shame that happened to you in Agatha. I guess you were really trying to go for the power of love,
yeah.
hope, to try.
I was really considering not healing on Bruno. I didn't remember exactly what my defense was, but I looked at it, I was like, I'm maybe 50% chance to survive Earthquake. I didn't end up going for it. But I would have survived Earthquake, actually. With 1
like
HP.
1 HP, and then you will join Aspect in the Fame Club.
Faint does not exist.
It does. I promise you, it does.
It does not.
But yeah, I think. Wait, is there one more Pokemon you have to deal with? Yep. Interesting. That's the second time when Marowak gets sent out second.
Yeah, so it depends on whether it targets Starmie or Golduck, the AI.
Ah, yeah.
Because Marowak has a Dark type move, I believe. What'll happen is if it targets Starmie, it'll come out before Slowbro. But otherwise, Slowbro will come out beforehand if it targets Golduck.
Yeah, I mean, you never encounter that situation when you're 1P anyway, so it doesn't matter. It just reminds yourself, make sure you Psychic and Thunderbolt the right thing. But with 2P, you're at least giving yourself an opportunity to not fully mess up. So this will be probably a 314 something, if I pet to guess.
I'm surprised I was having as good pace as I was, because I had a lot of bad catches. A lot of things that
I had a lot of
attacked
breakouts.
right before I caught, and like stuff like that.
But yeah, at least GG's for you actually finishing up the race
Yeah.
after the Agatha incident.
Yeah. I'm not someone who usually wages too hard on that, and I figured, I may as well. Who knows what happens? It wasn't even over at that point, since the others hadn't done champ yet.
Yeah. It was sadly not over, but the fact that both of them did choose to do 2P will probably meant that it was most likely like they had something majorly had to screw up, like Mega Pidgeot crit Starmie dead.
For sure.
Like that exact thing had to have happened for you to catch up. But I mean, you're playing to your outs, I guess, at that point of something else. And I believe also Yasko has also joined us as well.
Yes.
So first off, GG's on your second place,
Thanks.
and you're
GG's
also
everyone.
currently below the
Yeah,
medium,
GG's.
which means you do have 2 points, which means you do go up to 5 points, which is still
Yes.
contention for top cut.
Yes.
So first off, how do
Pretty
you
bad
feel?
run. Pretty bad run overall. Internet unfocused me, unfortunately.
So yeah, so this was a very interesting, very early morning race for those in Americans. Probably
Yeah.
we've seen many people now wake up now. Does
Yes.
anyone have anything they want to say about their particular runs and looking forward into the future runs?
I don't know if I'm gonna have another race. I don't remember.
Yeah,
what that was
sadly, only those who
I-
qualify, who have enough points, get to race round 4. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, 4+ points get races in round 4.
Well, it depends if it's calculated that 7 is even possible. If 7's not possible, then all the 4s don't even get the chance to race. Only 5s.
I believe the 7 conditions are based off of results in round 4 specifically. So I'm pretty sure it's 4+ it'll be going through.
I believe so, but we'll have to wait. We have to obviously wait and see. So I do apologize. This is your final race of the tournament.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I hope you had a fantastic time. Aspect, of course, you're gonna be facing against the likes of Etchy and like Randall as well. So and also Poketech. So you have a pretty tough race coming up to yourself. And
Certainly
yeah,
do, yeah.
and Yasuko being paired up with a lot of the fives, you are paired up. You at least have the same points as J Tattles and Head Bob, so that could potentially be a race that you might be facing against. You could potentially also be up paired or down paired as well. So that's going to be interesting to see. So that being said, there is one final race to happen. It is going to be a race between T-Pat, Thomas Patrick WX, Kerbis54, and I'm just there just to be filling in the third slot. So if you have, so this will not be the last of me. There was going to be, I'm going to be racing. What is it? 12:20. It's now 12:30. So I think it's 6 hours from now. So this is definitely going to be a race to see. Everyone thinks that T-Pat is the favorite to win, and with his PB of sub 3 is most likely going to happen. But who knows? Maybe a massive upset's going to happen. I don't think so. But until then, if anyone has nothing else to say, see you in 6 hours.
See ya.